While much of modern-day racing is dominated by the old European circuits of yesteryear, a new generation of tracks have begun to take shape over the last 2 decades, and leading the way is the Bahrain International Circuit. Held in the third smallest nation in Asia, this jewel amongst the sand has played host to the World Endurance Championship, the Porsche Super Cup, TCR, V8 Supercars, and Formula One. But today, we take Formula 3s around the 15 corners of the Grand Prix circuit for a race under the stars. Welcome to Artito Racing's Formula 3 Grand Prix Sundays here at Bahrain. I'm Kendrick Garlic, and joining me in the commentary box, as usual, is Kenjake. And Kenjake, I have to say, how excited are you for Artito's first night race?
I'm very much excited, Garlic. Since this is the very first ever night race held in the Artito lobby, if we saw exciting action from the daytime races, what more in the well-lit Bahrain International Circuit?
Absolutely, and that exciting action will take place within about the hour. At the moment, we have 35 minutes left of practice. Once we finish practice, we'll move to a 15-minute qualifying session, which will set the grid for a 14-lap race, followed by a reverse grid, which will provide both chaos and action in today's event, and as you said before, under the lights and under the stars, with some very, very exciting racing. As usual, the drivers are in the Formula RSS V619, provided by Racing Studios, which models the 2019 F3 cars. These cars weigh 680 kilograms and house 380 brake horsepower in its Mechachrome V6 engine. Drivers will have access to traction control, ABS, and DRS, helping the drivers wrangle these machines and provide exciting racing today. Now, for those who were watching last week, you would know that we trialed an alteration to the fuel and tyre wear rate. Today's race will have the same settings, with 200% fuel usage rate and 400% tyre wear rate, making strategy a key part of today's proceedings. So, with all that said, sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy. This is Artito Racing Grand Prix Sundays, live at Bahrain.
Yes. I completely forgot that Bahrain is already a nation in Asia.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the younger nations, actually. I believe it was formatted in the early 2000s, I want to say.
Well, yeah. Does it feel like Asia?
No, certainly not. It feels like a world away. But
Yeah.
Asia is such a huge continent.
Exactly.
Like, consider the fact you've got Russia, like Turkmenistan. Not Turkmenistan, sorry. Iran, Iraq. Like, that's sort of the vestiges of one side.
Yeah.
And on the complete other side, we have like Japan, China, where some of the drivers are, and Philippines as well, your home country.
Yes.
All the way to Indonesia, which is just on the doorstep of, and Papua New Guinea, which is on the doorstep of Australia, where I live. So it's such a huge, huge continent.
Exactly. Even Russia is still amazing since part of it is in Asia and a part of it is in Europe.
Yeah, it's a ridiculously huge country.
Oh yeah, so right now we're seeing the total overview of the racetrack. It's actually really, really good modeled here.
Yeah, this is a very good mod. Unfortunately, I don't know who did the mod design, so I can't quite credit, but whoever who did do it, very well done and such intricate detail. You can see some of the drivers going around at the moment. I think that's Ballista, actually.
It's like our very own helicopter cam.
It is. So as we look at some of the drivers going around on track today, some of the interesting news that developed out of the previous practice sessions. As we said beforehand, we have had newcomers into Formula 3 Sundays, and it's always made for very exciting racing. But I think the top story that is on everyone's lips is one Italian, Alessio Siri, and described in one sentence, 2/10 faster than Ballista. You can see Ballista just on track at the moment here. But Alessio Siri, complete newcomer, joining the server only this week, currently in the pits at the moment. But so far he has set the fastest lap of the session of a 144.9. We have seen him drop into the 143s alongside Ballista and Scoob, who's on circuit at the moment, I believe. But in the practice times, if I can quickly find it amongst my tens of thousands of notes. There we go. So, practice times are yesterday, sorry. Alessio Siri is at a time of 1:43.4. Ballista set a time of 143.6, and Scoob set a time of 143.9. So those are the only 3 drivers at the moment who've broken the 43s. Hopefully we'll be able to see some of the more exciting races at the moment. It seems as though Alessio has left the server for the meantime. Hopefully he'll be able to come back, because I think it goes without saying, Kendrick, that we want to be able to see more action at the front.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really hoping to see someone who would challenge Ballista in the top spot.
Yeah, certainly. And we have seen Sato able to bring the challenge to Ballista. Of course, Ballista being pretty much the Goliath of Artito Racing. Recently, he rounded off our Porsche Cup League race, League Championship, sorry. He won the championship quite convincingly, so now he is a 3-time Artito Racing champion. And I think his prowess has shown quite significantly in not only these cars, but basically anything that he's come across.
Exactly. It goes to show, like, even on race 1, he already won the championship for us.
Yes, very much.
He is that good. He is indeed that good.
But someone who may be able to bring the challenge today is beforehand. Alessio Siri, I think he's joined back, so we should be able to see him. And with half an hour left of the session, finally have more people come in. And Ryan. I believe, actually, we have Ryan Plankinson.
Yeah, the IDDS champion.
Yes. He may stay here for a while, but he has been in the chat beforehand. But as I said beforehand, Ryan Plankinson is one of our professional drivers, actually, at Artito.
Not too shabby of a driver for a drifter, huh?
No, certainly not. So he has competed in the IDS Drifting Pro 2 division. He ended up winning that earlier this year in a very exciting style, I have to say. And he, as I said before, he's one of the few pro drivers in Artito, but he's one of the regulars here. He's known for his drifting ability. On circuit ability, yet to be seen. Doesn't do circuit racing too much, but hopefully we'll be able to see some of that today.
Who knows? We might see.
Who knows?
Who knows? We might see him drift the Formula 3 cars.
That will certainly be a sight to behold, honestly. But yeah, he will be racing in drifting, I should say. Sorry, in IDDS Pro 1 division in the coming months. I believe early next year, I want to say, but don't quote me on that. So it'll always be good to see some Artito representation.
Exactly.
In the big leagues.
So yeah, at the moment we can see about roughly about 9 to 10 drivers running at the track at the moment. Hopefully we still up those numbers. Yeah, and hopefully we can beat the attendance that we had on Monza.
Yes, certainly. But it looks as though we will beat the attendance in Monza. We expect to see a lot of the regular drivers out here today. Alongside Scoob and Ballista said beforehand, we have Rohe, as usual. The Iron Wheel Jamaican, as we were discussing with Rohe for the stream. He's taken quite a liking to the moniker, so I reckon it will stick. We also have Gutsy here today, who wasn't racing with us last week, so it's always good to see the Australian. We have Lake Bun as well, you can just see. And at the moment, I think that's all the drivers. We have a couple newcomers as well, as we said beforehand. Ryan, who hasn't driven Formula 3 subjects beforehand, but he is proficient behind Drift Machine. We have a couple newcomers as well in the form of Neil Mendoza. I'm going to hope that's the pronunciation, from the Philippines. And Jesus Castellita Garcia, I think is the name, the Spanian.
Shall we call him Jesus instead?
I feel like that's clutching at straws. No, it's not the Jesus Christ, it's Jesus. Spanish, so. Different pronunciations.
Jesus. Sato now currently joining the session.
Excellent. Sato will be hoping to say some of the better results in comparison to Ballista. Of course, he was able to bring the challenge to Ballista in the first couple of races that we have had, particularly at Monza. Last week he got a P2 in the first race. Of course, with Ballista making that nice pass with DRS towards the final dying minutes of the race. And in race 2, he was pipped by Rohe on strategy and ended up coming third. So hopefully be able to bring some of the challenge to the front, particularly Ballista. But he will have more company alongside Ballista. As I said beforehand, Alessio Sidi, the Italian, complete newcomer, and he's made his presence very well known, setting the pace for the rest of the drivers. Scoob's also joining. He's ran quite fast himself, and of course he'll have his normal compatriot in the form of Ballista to combat with. So looks as though we're going to have some very exciting racing at the front, Kendrick.
Looks like so. I'm very much counting on it to bring up the heat now.
Yes. And while we were discussing, I just had a conversation with one of the higher-ups at Artito Racing. For those who are regulars within Artito, you would know of our race director, Flying Sane. He has just said that he wants to join the commentary box in a couple of minutes' time. So hopefully we'll be able to see him in the broadcast and maybe talk to him for a little bit about what his vision for the races or for Artito generally.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I think it's pretty much a luxury to have the race director in the commentary box itself.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, not everybody has the luxury of bringing their race director in the commentary.
No. FOA, eat your heart out.
Not even in Formula 1.
And while we're seeing one of the newcomers, Neil Mendoza, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly, start setting his laps for the practice session.
Is he Filipino?
He is Filipino.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much expanding our Filipino lineups.
Yes, absolutely. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, talk to you about the nature of the track. Of course, Bahrain is a much newer track. It was constructed in, I believe, 2005 from memory. Of course, it's quite different towards some of the other tracks that you would expect and that we've raced here on Formula 3 Grand Prix Sundays here at Artito. In that it isn't your typical stock standard European track. It's very new. It didn't develop from post-war racing. It was very much a product of Middle Eastern investment and attention into the motorsport scene. But as a result, the track has an interesting construction, Kendrick. It has 6 configurations.
Yeah.
These include the Grand Prix layout that F1 use as a endurance circuit that the World Endurance Championship uses, and the V8 Supercars used to use, an outer circuit that F1 used in 2020 at the Sakir Grand Prix. I'm pretty sure people remember that one, where Perez won his first race and Russell nearly earned a historic win in his first drive in a Mercedes. A paddock circuit, an oasis circuit, and an oval circuit without banking.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much milked out the land on this circuit.
Yes, they certainly did. The circuit, of course, being designed by Herman Tilke.
Okay. Yeah.
Certainly a very well-known circuit designer. He also designed some of the not fan favorites, Russia and the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. Of course, he ended up designing those who weren't particularly fond, but I think Bahrain is one of those ones where it's a newer track design, but it's still able to provide great racing.
Yes, pretty much his circuit design is hit or miss.
Yes, certainly.
But one thing's for sure, safety is always in the first for him. For every track he designs, safety is always his number one priority.
Yes, absolutely. And if viewers could cast their minds back to 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix, I think it was, Romain Grosjean, of course, having that horrendous crash coming out of turn 3, and thankfully he did survive with only minor injuries. But it just goes to show that the strides in safety that real life racing have been able to take with the Halo as the RSS Formula V6 show in Assetto Corsa, but as well as the Halo in real life and the Armco barrier designs it's quite amazing to see the drivers can have such a horrendous crash and be able to walk away mostly unscathed.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I wasn't really a big fan and a huge enthusiast for the Halo, but now that that we see the safety it brings to the drivers, it's like it's not complete anymore if we don't have the Halo for the Formula cars.
No, certainly. It's proved itself quite a number of times. And I think I remember looking at some of the like 2018 cars before the Halo became mandatory, and it almost looks out of place. It doesn't look right.
Now I have a change of heart with it because the new cars without the Halo, it looks so you already know it looks incomplete without it.
Yes, certainly. It's like if you took off the rear wing of the car, it just wouldn't look like a Formula car.
Exactly. It somehow evolved to us.
Yes. But while we're talking about safety in the modern era of motorsport, 20 minutes to go in practice, we had a couple people join. One of the drivers is Josh Mitchell, an Australian newcomer. He is currently sitting in 13th at the moment, I believe. There we are.
Still no time posted though.
No, still no time posted. He just joined a couple of minutes ago. He's asking for Melissa's setup. I think everyone's going to be wanting that, Josh, I'll be honest. So you're not alone in that endeavor. But yeah, Josh is one of the newcomers here at Artito. Joined this week and has already tried to immerse himself within some of Artito Racing's procedures. I believe he raced in the last Porsche Cup race that we had with the league finishing off yesterday. I'm not sure what the results were of that, unfortunately, because I wasn't able to race. But he's going to be immersing himself here today as well.
Very slow exit of the pits there. Kind of dangerous for the drivers.
Yeah, just being tentative. You don't want to be spinning out here, do you? Don't want to be doing a Mazepin.
Yep. But yeah, for the newcomers, if you don't know, these cars are fitted with ABS and traction control for the benefit of the keyboard players and controller players.
Yeah, certainly. So it gives facilitates much more close racing between the drivers. And while you can't quite bridge the gap between your wheel and your controller and your keyboard, it does alleviate some of the differences between them. And while we're just talking, we have been graced by the presence of our race director, Flying Sane. Welcome to the commentary box.
Yes, Mr. Director.
Good afternoon, good morning. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing well.
I'm doing fine as well.
So what have we got for practice so far?
Well, at the moment, the newcomer, Alessio Cieri, has been setting the bar, 144.8. Sardo is at the second fastest time, 145.1, followed by Scoob and 145.1 as well.
Yep.
And Ballista on a 145.6. From there, we have Verhey, Gusty, Lake Bun, and Neil Mendoza, who's a newcomer. We have Ryan Plangerton, we just talked about earlier. We have Morbotron, who's here to set a time, and Josh Mitchell, who's currently on a fly at the moment.
That's beautiful. So how much do we guys think that Ballista might be practicing on the race run rather than one lap pace at the moment for qualifying?
Well, I think as we said beforehand, we had the Ballista is known for his, let's say, sandbagging during the practice sessions, and will show his true pace on qualifying. So you always have to hold about a second or so for Ballista's time in comparison to the rest of the drivers. And hold your guesses that Ballista's truly out of his depth quite yet until qualifying's finished.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see qualifying this evening. I mean, as we know, it's not been often, if at all, that I can remember somebody out driving Ballista over a weekend. This weekend surely can be the first time it happens. So let's see how it goes. Yeah. I think it's going to be intriguing regardless. Yeah, it's going to be also interesting. It's going to be interesting. What I think what's really going to be interesting is when you're a driver like Ballista, who's got so much pace compared to everybody else, you can afford to be patient. You can afford to bide your time when it comes to making moves. The question is, with a guy who's as fast as him now, if not faster just yet, how is he going to react under pressure are we going to see a side of him that we've not seen before? We saw the same with Lewis Hamilton back in 2021 when Max finally started to push him. He also started making mistakes. So I just wonder if we can see that this weekend.
It's entirely possible, and it's always a joy to see a driver push to his complete limits, because you'll see, as I said beforehand, what he's really made of. And if we yet to see Ballista in his fleet form or not, if we actually know that we've seen his true pace, I think today will certainly show his extremities in terms of his pace and his car control.
And for all we know, I mean, this weekend, if he does get challenged, which looks very likely, and he still rises to the occasion, it just adds to what a great driver he is. So I'm just really intrigued to see.
Certainly. And Plan you're obviously new to the commentary box, but I'll ask you for today's predictions, honestly. What do you think is going to happen?
You're putting me on a knife edge here, mate. I'm going to get in trouble. Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble. I think it's tough. Sato is always very good with Formula 3 cars. I mean, Ballista always is fast. And how do you pronounce the new driver's name again?
Alessio Siri.
Is there anywhere else I can call him? Because it's probably a bit too much for my basic mind.
Siri. Let's call him Siri instead.
Yeah, let's call him Siri.
Let's go with Siri. I think Siri might nab pole in this race, and I think Ballista will run him close, and I think we'll be on the front row. And I would say Sato would slot himself nicely in third. I still think Ballista's experience over a race will probably win out, but it's also hard to say because we all don't know what Siri's racecraft and race pace, and it remains to be seen. So I think in terms of the race, I'd probably get Ballista first, Siri second, and Sato third.
Interesting. And on that topic, actually, the fact that we have such a question mark over Alessio's racecraft and pace, there's also question marks over Scoobs. As we have known before, and Scoob has gotten the short end of the stick in terms of getting involved in incidences, both in lap 1 incidences, as well as battling with some of the faster drivers. If you remember last week at Monza in race 1, he got collected by Sato coming out of the Parabolica, and his race was ended as a result. So you really have to put a big question mark over whether Scoob's pace is going to be matching the front, and at this point, as much as I don't want to be saying this, whether it's going to result in him getting the sharp end of the stick yet again.
As a race car driver, I used to race seriously 5 years ago, and I think that the biggest thing I can remember as a race car driver is it's a very confidence-based business. Like, if you've got a wave of momentum and that's good momentum, it's very hard to break it. But if and when it does, for all the great driver he is, he's had a few incidents over the last few races, which obviously you could argue by his standards have been very subpar. So it's going to be interesting to see if he does iron them out, especially a track like Bahrain with a lot of stopping zones. How is he going to react when it comes to overtaking moves or defending? And I have no doubt that Scooby will eventually stop with these incidents he's been having, because a lot of them are clumsy, and he is one of the best drivers we have on the grid, you know. Top 2, top 3 definitely. So it's going to be interesting to see this weekend if he can finally iron out the issues. And as we say, he goes fastest with a 1:44.5. So
yep,
if he's going to be if he goes top of the timesheets like that in qualifying, he probably won't have to worry about getting instances as long as he can run away from everyone. But that remains to be seen, of course.
Absolutely. And Kendrick, I'll ask your opinion as well. How do you think the proceedings today will go, at least for race 1?
I'm pretty sure these top 3 here, Scooby, Siri, and Ballista. Okay, let's not count out Sato now. Those four drivers
Absolutely.
have pretty much proven their place.
Let's not discount Sato, because I have a feeling a lot of people do. Dude's pretty much a top 2, top 3 driver every time he steps in the car. So one thing I do want to bump in with Kendrick for a second is we have to remember Sato is known for some very aggressive moves. And turn 1 can be very interesting if he's in the first 2 rows. So keep an eye out for him.
Certainly will.
And someone else who's also been known for his aggressive moves is Vohei. Vohei showing very good pace comparatively to the rest of the field at the moment. Currently sitting in 5th on 145.8, 1.2 seconds off the pace from Scoop. But of course, in his last outing at Monza, he made that incredible double overtake going to turn 1 on both Miko and Raj. And living up to his moniker of the Iron Wheel of Jamaica. And as you said beforehand, Sain, there's the nature of Bahrain that there's so many heavy braking points. And I reckon if Vohei had shown his ability to make moves, not just on some of the higher mid-pack drivers, but also Blizzard as well, he was able to do that in the early phases of race 2. He is certainly one that can't be counted out quite yet for maybe even a podium.
Yeah, I mean, with Rohei, it's very difficult to say because sometimes I feel like Rohei, as I was about to say, he's his own worst enemy, and just like that, that's the issue. Whether that's down to lack of practice over the last few months, I don't know, but it's difficult to say with Rohei. I feel like it can be at a point where sometimes he can have a 15-second lead and something can go wrong with him, so I wouldn't count him out, but it's going to take a faultless execution from him to pull off a win, and as we've seen in the previous few races, it's not been the case with Rohei, so I'd be gladly proven wrong.
I'd argue otherwise, honestly, especially in the Formula 3 cars. He's shown quite strong tenacity and pace within these cars. Of course, beforehand, last week he came second in race 2, and I believe third and fourth in race 1. So he has the pace to challenge the top guys, given if the cars fault him correctly. It's just a matter of getting out of the first couple laps and shaking off the race jitters, I think is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I just think Rohei, he's got the out-and-out pace with these cars, that's for sure. Like, I think he can run within a second or two of the fastest guys here. I think for Rohei, what sometimes affects him is his racecraft, and it's obviously different with F3 cars. They're more sensitive to contact. There's a lot of variables with F3 cars, and that's where I feel like racecraft takes even a bigger role than what we do, which is GT racing. But Rohei, at the end of the day, is still a Pro AM driver. He finished top 3 in our first season, which had very, very good drivers. So I have no doubt in my mind that Rohei will eventually find a way to pick himself up and get back to his old ways. But I think the way that's going to start is he needs to get a new wheel first.
Yes, infamously, Rohei has the Logitech Driving Force EX. And guess what year it was released in?
I'll probably say it was before I was born, so 1998.
It's not quite that bad, no, but it was released in 2006, and I'm confident to say that there are drivers currently on the server that are younger than his wheel.
Let's put it into context what 2006 was. It's like, at those times, touchscreen phones aren't even the norm.
No.
And I remember I once got a wheel for $20 or $30 for that for an experience, obviously non-direct drive, and a wheel that's got like an input lag of a second, and I can tell you now it probably makes you slower than it makes you faster because it's a wheel. Definitely equipment does have a big role with these races, and I think Rohei, if and when he gets a new wheel, he will initially be a bit slower because it'll take time for him to adapt to something that he hasn't driven to, especially considering the fact he's played on this wheel for a year, if not more. But I think eventually once he gets the hang of it, he is going to be absolutely on the pace. I think I would say he would easily be within a few tenths of the fastest guys. And I think that's when, if he can just work on his racecraft, he can weekly wins. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
Certainly. He's got the training weights, let's call them. He's holding back his potential for the rest of the field so they can have a go before he goes and he's done the streak.
That's one way to put it.
And as we approach 6.5 minutes left of practice, I invite the viewers of the stream, if you're enjoying the stream, or if you enjoy previous streams. Like it, subscribe to Artito Racing. If you want to get involved in this racing itself, you can always go into the description and click the Discord link. That'll get you set up within the Discord. Plenty of familiar faces here, plenty of people willing to chat. Beforehand, there's great banter between us three, as well as all the drivers racing today. And then from there, we'll be able to direct you towards the servers on the Assetto Corsa. And it's always good to see more drivers here.
You know what? I'm thinking of something. Wait, no. I think we should. You want to commentate over the lap, Abby?
I am not 100% sure because my schedule doesn't allow me to make that commitment just yet. Today I decided since we don't have real life F3 and F2, I'll just commentate, and I really was intrigued this weekend to see what the new driver can do against Ballista, but I might make occasional cameo appearances, but it will be difficult for me to commit to this long term, especially with everything that's been happening.
I'm actually asking you to commentate over a lap. Like commentate the lap of someone.
Oh,
I'll bring you on board.
You got me quite you got me quite well. Let's wait for another driver to start a hot lap and we can go on board with them. And then I can also commentate.
Go on board with Scooby once he gets to the main straight now.
It seems like Scooby might be finishing his lap, but let's go on board with Scooby.
The floor's yours.
Scooby might be going fastest in a bit. So down the main straight, on these cars, you'll get out about 6th gear, about 300 kilometers per hour. Here, turn 1, very important braking zone. You want to be braking just about where the curb starts and bring it down to about 2nd gear. This is a very tricky corner to get your traction down because you're turning while still trying to apply the power. And if you can get it wrong, it's very easy to spin out. Down towards turn 4, you've got a bit of runoff on the outside and the corner kind of widens up on the exit, so you can get on the throttle a lot earlier than you can expect. Down into this quick right and left hander. It's beautiful to watch on the outside. It will be in qualifying when the cars are low on fuel. And then you come to this corner which kind of tightens up a bit on the apex. And then you come to the infamous turn 10. Very famous for inside wheels locking up. So you want to brake just about after that white line. And then just make sure the rear of the car, as we see there with Scooby, is settled. You don't want it to be unloaded on the right hand side and oversteering on the exit. Now we come to the end of the 2nd sector, 3rd gear left-hander, and this is where you get so much load to your front right and front left tire, very long corners in 5th gear, and then you brake for this penultimate corner. Very hard to spot the apex, but if you can get a good exit, which is vital, you come down this long straight, and all this while now you're thinking about the last corner, where to brake. I think it's going to be just south of 100 meters. 3rd gear in these cars, you clip the apex, get on the power as much as you can, use the curving on the outside just to stabilize the car, and then down the main straight, open the DRS, and that's pretty much a hot lap around Bahrain.
Very good.
It's very
Natural.
good.
144.8 from Scoob there, 5 tenths off his own pace, but sitting quite nicely just behind Alessio City on that lap.
I'm surprised he maintained the 143 even with the traffic.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of traffic on that lap there, but as we were talking, we had more people join. Vaj just joined, thankfully, so he'll be able to hopefully qualify and get towards the front of the pack. We know Vaj has quite good pace within these cars.
It's obviously track evolution is a thing in real life. Is that a thing with our sessions as well, or not really?
Yes, we do have track evolutions at the moment because the grip transfer over a session happens.
Yeah, and you also have to remember these drivers have been practicing for a good few minutes in a row now, and with the adrenaline build-up that, like, these are the last few laps you'll do before qualifying. Naturally, it's very common, pretty natural for them to start pushing the envelope ever so slightly. But if this was real life, I think one of the worst things you can do right about now is bin the car right before qualifying. Thankfully, obviously in the sim, we don't have to worry about that. But obviously, that happens in real life. That's when you need to have a massive repair job right before qualifying. So,
Certainly.
and I think even in sim racing, as we approach like these last 3 minutes,
Oh, cut off again.
Yep.
Oh,
driver
well,
yourself
flying
who
set.
still races regularly, I have to ask you as a driver, if you do bin it in practice just before qualifying, how does that affect your confidence level, especially when you approach those corners, those very same corners you binned it?
Certainly. And I think someone that's going to be having a little bit of shaking confidence as he teleports back to the pits is Lake Bun. As we saw last week, Lake Bun didn't have the best of times at Monza. He finished P9 in the first race and did well for himself the early stages of the second race, but ended up outbraking himself and colliding with Sato on the first corner of, I believe, lap 4. So he ended up retiring out of shame, I guess. Guilt is probably the best way to describe it. So he'll be hoping to have a bit of a cleaner race in the coming minutes. Bar's just on track at the moment. He sets a 2 minutes 22.5. That's clearly not representative, so he'll be certainly going faster in the coming moments. But as we count down 10 seconds towards the end of practice, the pace between the drivers is starting to shape up.
I'm already excited for the qualifying. I'm really sure these four will be putting up a show for us.
Certainly. And as we're watching Raj do his one and only flying lap in practice for the races today, it's yet to be seen what his pace is. I believe he was 5th fastest from memory on the pre-stream practice sessions. So hopefully be able to mimic a similar pace that would put him just behind Ballista and in front of Lake Bun. But at the moment, ironically, Kendrick, you were saying beforehand whether we're going to be seeing Ryan Plangerton drifting these Formula 3 cars. He's just said in chat he's drifting already, and it doesn't seem to be voluntary.
Yeah, pretty much. Here's the thing with these cars. They're pretty much covered with wings in the front and the rear, so you'd expect them to be much planted in the corners. Whilst that is indeed true, these cars do move a lot under braking and during the maneuvers.
Certainly. And unfortunately, our race director had to leave. Don't quite know why, but he is a busy man. And as I say, that concludes practice. By the looks of drivers are finishing up their final laps, and the grid, well, not the grid, sorry, the time sheet for practice is starting to take form. And you can just see in front of you there, Scoob, main man, setting the bar for the rest of the drivers at the moment, 144.3. Sato in P2 with 144.5, so 2 tenths behind him. Alessio Ciardi not quite able to mimic the pace that he had in the previous practice sessions on a 144.6, but he is certainly keeping behind the rest of the drivers. P4 is Ballista on a 144.7, P5 is Voihan on a 145.8, P6 is Lake Bun, P7 is Gutsy, P8 is Neil Mendoza.
Is that allowed?
Is Ryan Plangerton. P11 is I've lost track here. P10, there we are. P10 is Josh Mitchell, who's showing from him in his first outing. P12 is Raj, and P13 is Morbitron, I think his name is. But that concludes practice. And we will start to see some of the drivers getting ready for qualifying. And Sign, who's joined back in the call, thankfully. As you were saying beforehand, there was the nerves of going into qualifying session with the knowledge of how the track is faring. As you see the session tick over, and the drivers start to pull out for their qualifying times now.
So we head over to qualifying.
And I think one of the biggest things I can remember from when I did league racing on the F1 games is, as a driver, when you're qualifying and you're sandbagging during practice, you've got the engine turned down. Now in qualifying, with the track ramping up with brand new soft tires,
wow,
and
that was
there's
awkward.
contact already.
As you're saying that, I believe it's Lake Bun
and Sato once again.
That is That is very, very clumsy. Out of the pit lane, no, nonetheless.
Huge
And,
contact.
clumsy.
As I was saying beforehand, there was the incident between the two at Monza, and Lakeburn surely isn't helping heal relations between him and the Japanese driver. So hopefully we won't be seeing that in the race, but that's certainly the way you want to be starting qualifying.
Absolutely not. And I think Bahrain turn 1, obviously, always, just like Monza, is a very good area for hotspots when it comes to incidents, lap 1 incidents. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it all happens. But like I was saying, like I was alluding to earlier, as a driver, when you're sandbagging, or not sandbagging, but rather have the engine turned down, when you've got the engine turned up with brand new soft tires, with the adrenaline flowing through that is qualifying, your braking zones change. You've got more power, you've got more grip, and a lot of the times it's down to who can feel the grip within the car the best, who are going to come out strong in qualifying. And it's going to be a mental edge. Whoever can get that lap time and establish that themselves as the man to beat tonight. And it's going to be very fascinating to see how they react, because it's one thing to be practicing offline, it's another to be in this moment right now, going for pole.
Absolutely. And as we're just waiting for the drivers to finish out their out laps and start their timed laps, Alessio Citti, one of the first drivers out on the moment. Just see Sato making his way on an out lap, hopefully able to replicate the pace that he had in practice. And
Absolutely.
Alessio Citti is one of the first drivers to be on a flyer at the moment. You can just see him there.
Times have not reset from practice, have they?
They haven't
No,
yet.
they don't. No.
Yep.
Give it time, they'll reset.
Yep. It's just a bit of a nuisance to have on the screen, but I'm pretty sure we can work around it.
Yes, we can. Once all the drivers set their time for qualifying, we'll update. You can just see Alessio Citti setting his first qualifying lap for this session.
He's on a hot lap, isn't he? He seems like he's got a DRS open and he's pushing quite a bit down into turn 11. And like I was saying, this is the area where the front left gets very loaded up, and then that front right, now it's a front left that gets loaded up quite a bit. And now I think in qualifying, spotting the apex at turn 13 is one of the hardest things you can do in sim racing, and still make sure you have a good exit.
But he's done it quite well here.
He's done it quite well. He's managing it, but we'll see what the stopwatch says. Into the last corner to get it stopped. Don't get overexcited. And on the power, and a straight dash to the line.
All right, let's see the time. Setting the bar. It is a 1:44.5.
Absolutely lovely. Right on the pace straight away.
Certainly.
It seems like he's going again. And
Does
a bit of a lock up into turn 1, but he still got the car rotated towards the apex.
Yes.
And then down towards the second DRS zone.
And while Alessio is setting his second lap, I was just looking on his onboard at the time, and his car is very slidey in comparison, particularly around that double left-hander of turns 9 and 10. That is generally a sore spot for the drivers, but it was a similar case to turn 12 as well.
So up through sector 1, absolutely fine.
He's still improving his time.
The pace.
He is, yes.
He's yep.
And in the meantime, Sato's got a 1:44.5, so he's just pipped Siri there by a little bit. You can see the time starting to update now, thankfully.
I think
that's a horrible camera angle.
Switch over to the tower first.
How much of this track do you guys think is going to be a compromise with downforce and straight line speed? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 main straights, you could argue. How much do you think straight line speed is going to be key this weekend?
Well, it's interesting to see, because from what I've been made aware is that the circuit in real life has a different compound in comparison to some of the other circuits, in that it's got a much more grippier track. So if the modder has been able to transfer that grip into game, I reckon there won't be as
Wow.
much of a comparison. 143.8.
143. There we go.
Wow.
They're showing
That
their
is-
alien face right now.
Like I said, this is the part of qualifying where the best drivers will stamp their authority, and absolutely series risen to the occasion here himself. 143.8 straight away, within the first 2 laps.
Already
Who can
6
catch
tenths
him?
faster than Sato at the moment, and the rest of the field not able to quite match it yet.
And
Scoop at a
hopefully,
149.7.
hopefully we go on board with Ballista very shortly, because wow, that is a quick lap time. Speaking
Yep.
of Ballista, here he is. What does he have through the first sector?
It seems though he's on a firing lap at the moment, but he has
And
been
he's
able
2
to
tenths.
replicate
He is
time.
2 tenths down through sector 1. Is his car going to be quicker to the middle sector? Is his car set up more for downforce through this middle sector? But that would also probably mean that his last sector would be compromised as well. Let's see.
On
Down
board
into
with
the
it now.
tricky turn 10. Hopefully he doesn't snatch the left front. Beautiful. Straight on the throttle, straight on acceleration, and down the back straight. The third DRS turn down into turn 11.
Can I just point out that Ballista is not full on the throttle, as seen on the app
No,
on that
he-
straight.
He was having technical difficulties earlier. It looks as though his pedals are.
He's
starting to
up.
fade in.
He's up. He's got the pace.
Yeah, so he certainly has the pace to be able to match the top drivers. Going through turn 13 now, I believe that is.
This is going to be so close.
Will be very close. Only one more braking zone.
Certainly a
together,
nail
you can
biter
see-
now.
Yep, you can see his car getting almost 250 kilometers per hour, breaking it down into second
Just
gear.
misses the apex slightly on the last corner, but he got the car rotated down to the line. What lap time
Michael
is it going to
White's
be?
Doesn't
It's
seem
going
to
to
be
be a
able
43 more.
900,
Wow.
1900s, wow.
9. That's close.
19 thousandths of a second between
Thousand,
Lesso
sorry.
and Ballista.
But I think Kendrick pointed out that he had a bit of an issue in the back straight, didn't he, with his throttle?
Yeah.
So
Yes, he did.
that surely must have been at least a tenth there. So, wow, this is going to be a good fight. I can't wait. I can't
And
wait.
it's getting ever closer between the two drivers, the Italian and the Japanese, Alessio Siri and Ballista, the rookie and the established driver. An interesting rivalry between these two, and certainly one that's going to be going
As
off.
we wait for Ballista and the last few rounds of qualifying, I want to go back to that old question of Garlic, being a race car driver yourself at the moment who's active, how much of a compromise would you be making with regards to downforce and straight line on a track like this?
On a track like this, you kind of have to hope that the mechanical downforce, mechanical grip
Russian
is going to
white
be
there.
working with you. A lot of the difficult parts of the section is traction on exits. Turns 9 and 10 kind of speak towards that as well, and a lot of that is down not necessarily to aero, in terms of like downforce, but more so mechanical grip. So your limited slip differential, your toe, your camber. And I'd be probably focusing more on those for the car setup and trying to reduce the drag on the car for the long straights to gain as much time as possible. And you can see Raj there going in nearly excess of 285 kilometers per hour. That is quick.
That is quick. And I think from my experiences as well, it's going to be a compromise because sure, you want to set up the car for straight line speed, but we've got tire scaling and fuel scaling. How much downforce are you willing to put on the car to make sure the tires don't get overloaded through the corners, especially through the long left and right-hander through turn 11 and 12? Over a race, that can affect your tire wear. So sure, you can have the straight line speed down the straight, but how much of the tires are going to wreck? So it's a fine balance as we see Siri just about on pace with his previous lap there, just under a tenth.
And as you were saying beforehand, the managing the tires between the drivers, it seems that most of the top drivers are running hard for their qualifying session. Sato and Lakebun are running the mediums at the moment, and they're third and fourth respectively. But it seems as though that the top two are running the hards in order to combat that tire degradation you were talking about.
And as we were just talking about how to set up the car, Ballista's gone just under a tenth faster than Siri.
Yes, 143.7. So it's very nip and tuck between the two drivers at the moment. Of course, Alessio's got 5 minutes left to respond in due course. And it seems as though, as I said beforehand, he's still on pace, but he is just slightly below his fastest time at the moment. Whether he'll be able to match Ballista yet is yet to be seen.
I think this is the
But
only
I reckon
time.
he'll bring the challenge.
Yeah,
This is where I think mentality of a driver is much more of a bigger factor in your performance than your driving skill. I really think the pressure of these last few laps is what's going to determine if you get pole position or not. the best drivers are gonna find a way to find that extra few tenths and not keep pinning it into the wall. And
Certainly,
it's gonna be
as it's,
interesting to see. Oh, whoa! He got the car slowed down. That's amazing. That car was sideways all the way on the entry of turn 10. And I really think we need to get a better camera angle for turn 10 because we can't see the cars hitting the apex. But how he saved that car on the entry was incredible to watch. And he's up by 2 tenths.
An incredible
Wow,
lap
this
here
is-
from Theory. An absolute masterclass of car control. And he's already 2 tenths up. That means to be a tenth faster than Ballista. Going towards turn 13 now. Heading towards turn 14.
What's the track record, guys? Is it going to get broken here?
143.3, I believe. I don't think he'll break it, but he's pretty close.
He'll come close. He'll come close.
Heading towards the final braking
close.
zone now. He'll dip the car in, roll the car in quite nicely on the power using all the curves. Whether that's be,
It might be.
it might be. It's yet to be seen. Will he be able to log the time? He
43.6.
does. 143.6.
Oh,
There we
wow.
go.
The pace. There's the pace. There's the pace. And now it's going to be up to Ballista to find that extra tenth. And like I said, the best drivers can find those few tenths without binning it into the wall. Let's see how the champion reacts. This is the first time. I said it at the top of the show. I've said it for a while, all the while along. This is the first time we've seen him push like this. And it's going to be so interesting to see how he reacts. Because it's been a while since he's been pushed like this. And I can't certainly remember in my time here someone who's pushed him like this.
No, I can't either, honestly. And while we're being
it might just
enamorated
add-
sorry.
It might just add to what a great driver he is if he can pull this off. And as we say that, he's a 10th down through sector 1, but we've still got 2 sectors to go. Sorry, Garlic.
And as we're being enamorated by the top 2 drivers, someone who hasn't been able to go up to scratch, unfortunately, is Scoob. Only down in 10th at the moment on 147.6. If that's representative of his time at the moment, it doesn't seem as though he'll be able to pull off the finish that I was alluding to earlier.
Oh. Wow. What a qualifying this is turning out to be.
And it seems that Ballista's abandoned that lap. Yeah, he's 2 tenths down. He's not going to be able to improve.
He's going to pretty much get 1 flying lap more, isn't he? Yep, he's going to get 1 more flying lap.
He might get 2 if he's lucky. It'll be close. It'll be very close.
2 minutes on the clock. I think he's just getting 1, guys. He's just going to get 1. He's not getting around to the start-finish line within the next 17 seconds.
No, you have to bear in mind that Assetto Corsa has overtime.
That is true. We will see.
He's really giving it
Size
everything.
around. Yeah, it seems as though you're right saying we won't be able to get another flying lap. So this is it for the Japanese driver.
This is it. The pressure is on him now. How's he going to respond? Let's go on board with him. He's got the DRS open. 250, 260 kilometers per hour, accelerating down to the main straight. This is where the best drivers earn their bucks. 283, 284 kilometers per hour as he hits the brakes.
Oh, as he locks up.
He's missed the apex. That's what I said. That's what I said. This is the first time we've seen him under pressure. Wow. That's surely going to...
quite a big lockup here. We're yet to see the second time for it, but we'll see it in a moment. Just bottom right your screen.
I think he might be down, guys. And you can see him. He is pushing. He is pushing.
This is the very first time that we ever saw Ballista sweat.
Yes, certainly.
He's definitely having to work this Sunday evening, and I think maybe that's why he skipped the league race yesterday. He's really having to work hard for this one, and he can see how much this probably means to him. That it's just a one-off race, and he's still pushing. He's trying. He wants to make sure that he remains the top dog at Artito, but he's got a very worthy challenger here this evening.
And he's only got 1 sector left to be able to set the stage between him and Alessio. Heading into turn 11 now, coming out of it. Very tidy for the most part, but he has of course got the difficulties from the first part of the lap. It was a lock from turn 1, getting slightly out.
It's going to take a mighty second and third sector for him to get pole now. These guys have been pushing all out for the last few days. For him to get a 43.6 with a lockup at turn 1 would take an absolute mammoth of an effort. But let's see, down into the last quarter, third gear, hit the apex, get a good exit, and Ballista across the line. Let's see what he's got, and he's pitting. Wow.
He's abandoned the lap.
Yep.
He's abandoned qualifying. Wow, the champion is clearly not happy.
No.
He abandoned that lap, and now we go on board with Sato. Did he
I
start his
think-
flying? Did he start his flying lap after the checkered flag?
I believe so. Yes, I
Yes, he
don't
did.
count. Yeah.
I think that's going to be it for qualifying. Siri on
Interesting
pole
stuff.
position. Wow.
Wow. And the rookie, the Italian, showing
rookie
his dominant
Oh.
pace.
It's going to be. I don't know if he's really a rookie. I was more say he's an Artito rookie. By the looks
Yeah,
of it,
Artito rookie.
the guy has been sim racing for years. Wow, for him to be doing that, that's incredible. And
Certainly.
as we see Sato on a hot lap now, he's going to be in third, Scooby in fourth. As we say that, Raj puts himself up into fourth place. Good lap there from Raj, the Indian driver.
Yeah.
But it's going to be that second row, and now with Scooby there in the third row. That's going to be a very interesting turn one. We've got some very aggressive drivers going into turn one who'll be hungry for positions. And Rohei, I just think that's where Rohei needs to be like, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to let the rest of them sort it out and pick up the pieces. When you're on a momentum, when you're on the sort of downward momentum like he has been, you just have to wait for the others to make mistakes. And I think this is where he needs to be a bit patient going into turn one. He could easily be in the top three if turn one is chaotic. But obviously for him, obviously for Rohei, he's probably going to be on the inside, which is obviously the dirty side of VC. Sato doesn't improve on his time by 3 hundredths of a second.
So that is the grid for the first race. P1, Alessio Siri, the Italian at 143.6, absolutely making himself known in the Artito Formula 3 Grand Prix Sundays. P2 is Blissa on a 43.7. P3 is his countryman, Sado, on a 144.3. P4 is Raj, a good showing from him, 144.4. P5 is Scoop. He's able to gather his laps times up and set himself quite well, 144.5. P6 is Rohei. P7 is Lakebun. P8 is Gusty. P9 is Ryan Pennington, a good showing from the IDDS Pro 2 champion. P10 is Morbitron. P11 is DJ Dragon. P12 is Josh Mitchell. He'll probably be hoping to have a bit better pace for his first race, but it's a good showing from him. And P13 is Neil Mendoza.
That's a very good grid.
Certainly interesting front pack here.
And I think if it does finish like this, that race, the reverse grid race, is going to be also one not to miss. But for now, let's focus on race one.
Now we turn to
This'll
the
have
night
14
skies
laps.
now.
Yes, and as we get ready
this
for
will
the
look
race
Bahrain.
under the stars,
The
you can
pressure is
hear
on,
those
guys.
you can hear those Mecha V-Chromes singing. Lights about to go out in a moment's time. You know for a fact that the driver's anticipating it. Here come the lights.
This is where the pressure's on.
It is indeed.
Will be an interesting turn one here now.
And
As
we go to
go
6 red lights for race 1. Bahrain.
It's lights
And
out, and
away
away we go.
We go.
So great start from Siri. He's not going to be challenged in the third one. Absolutely whatsoever. Comes down to cover Ballista. Siri well and truly
Contact.
in turn.
Huge
And there's contact into
Ryan.
turn one. Oh!
Crash already, Rohei's involved, Gusty's involved, Blind Plankton's involved. It's not a good showing from those two drivers, unfortunately, but it seems as though the leader's been able to make a way. Ballista's been able to defend against his compatriot Sada, but Sada will have the slipstream going in towards this corner for the first time. He'll go for a move on the inside, and they'll give the respect for each other. Just about.
And
Sato
that
be able
is
to make the
not
move.
what Ballista needed this evening for Sato now to be ahead of him. This will set Siri off into a distance. That is not what he needed.
Certainly.
And it seems as though Scoob is itching for a move. He wants that third place from Ballista. He sees his opponent in a weak opportunity. You can just see in the background there Raj and Lakebun battling between each other. We'll come back to that in a second. But meanwhile, Ballista not getting the best of starts in comparison to his rival or his compatriot for that matter. Josh Mitchell has just left, unfortunately. So he is retired already. But you can see the drivers on the back straight now.
Good outing for Mendoza though. He gained 6 places on that first lap.
It's a very good outing for him. He seems to
That is
benefited
exactly
quite well.
from that lap 1 shenanigans, absolutely. Rohei is up at his 7th, so it doesn't seem like lap 1 affected him too much, but Siri seems to be comfortable out front. Now it's going to be up to Ballista to clear Sato as soon as possible, and he needs to do that now if he has any chance of winning the race this evening.
Absolutely, but you can see Ballista right behind Sato's slipstream. You can see the times now starting to come in. Already a second gap between Siri and Sato, but you can see this battle for second here between the two Japanese drivers and Scoob, the Indonesian.
There you
On
go,
board
good
now with
run.
Ballista.
Good run. Here we go.
And you can see the slipstream is gaining. Really go for a move. Sada goes defensive to turn 1 on lap 2. Lots of late breakers. Ballista has the late braking, but he won't have the inside line capacity to Sada.
Oh, bit
But he will
contact
the
there,
inside
wow.
line.
Right on the outside. What a move. What a move
great
from the
move.
champion.
And you can
Now
see
he's gonna
Ballista
be
getting his
pressure over
arms
top
out.
and four. He's gonna have to protect the middle. He's gonna have to protect the middle. Oh, he left the door open. Sato is gonna send it down the inside.
Sada will make the same move as well.
Ballista gets to drive off the corner, but he would have made his life so much easier there by just protecting the
contact.
middle. As we see Sato losing a position to Scooby. Scooby finds himself up into the podium. Whoa, he almost loses control of that car. Now Ballista's going to set off the series. If his next overtake comes, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot harder.
And Sada getting a bit flabbergasted. You can see Scoob making the move on Sada. He's now streaking away as well. And Sada getting it all wrong coming out of the turn 8 into turn 10 now. And Raj is right behind the Japanese driver. Both have DRS, so it doesn't seem as though they'll have any comparative advantage. But Sada's going to be out of his rhythm a little bit here. And Raj is going to be licking his lips and saying, I want that fourth.
Absolutely. We all know Raj is very good at these cars as well. And he comes alive during the races. So let's see what Raj is up to as we see Scooby here giving a proper go at Ballista for P2. Is that right?
Yep, it is. Scoob filling the Japanese driver's mirrors entirely, looking left, looking right, coming out of turn 10 now, just jumping towards Ryan Pennington, who didn't quite get the start that he wanted in P10 at the moment, but he is battling with the Filipino driver, Mendeles. He's got a better exit than him, and it seems as though the traction, which is something that Ryan Pennington isn't particularly familiar with, has worked better for him as Theory set the fastest lap of the race, 145.2. Pennington will make the move, and as P9, it's very well done from the Indonesian drifter there. Seems as though they'll be able to streak away. Meanwhile, though, it seems as though Sato and Raj are battling for position. Hopefully they'll get that. There we go.
If you're Ballista right about now, you probably have to question, what do I do? I'm already 2 seconds behind. I'm probably not going to catch him up. What do I do with strategy? Do I save my tires? Do I go longer and try and hope for an overcut? Do I go for an undercut? But where am I going to come out in traffic? And obviously we don't have strategy teams to tell us where we will feed out if we do pit. So now Ballista's in a very awkward position, but it's not...
Oh, huge contact!
Who was that? That was Raj! Raj made a huge send and that has not worked at all.
Whoa, what was that? That looked very, very clumsy there. That seemed like a very late dive.
Seems the drivers for the most part are okay. Raj, of course, falling down the order.
Wow.
Rejoining back in about 8th place. Will be making...
I think he's disconnecting.
Yeah,
I think he's had...
got, I think he's had an internet issues. Yeah, that did not seem like... Yeah, that's very unlucky for him. I was wondering what was that move, because there's no way that was a... Yeah, that was a right move for the level of these drivers. So yeah, unlucky for Raj, but I guess that's just Pacific Wi-Fi, Asia Pacific Wi-Fi for you guys.
Yeah, it seems as though, but someone who has benefited from Raj's misfortune, almost characteristically, is Lakebud now at P5 and looking at Sato in P4, and it seems as though that he will have the DRS and slipstream as well, as at least he sets a 145 dead, still setting the pace.
Ballista is now fighting back.
And he's not dead in the water yet. He's not dead in the water.
Like I said, for him, he knows that even if he gains a 10th or 2 a lap, that's not going to be enough, guys. He's going to have to think about strategy here. I think that's his only way of winning race 1.
Meanwhile, Gussie, the Australian, making the move. He'll have DRS down the front straight. He'll make the move on Mendoza. I want to say his name is, I've forgotten his name. Yep. Mendoza, that's the one. Filipino, he'll make it before turn 1. Very DRS clean move.
Clear.
There.
Absolutely.
Very clean. Already now onto lap 4, the drivers will have to start thinking about strategy, as I said beforehand. Time. Ballista in particular is going to have to be thinking about how he's going to be playing his cards when it comes to strategy. He will have the advantage of experience in these cards.
Big lock up. Big lock up.
A big lock up. That was Morbitron. Interesting name.
What is that, like a French Megatron or something?
I just feel like right about now, this is when, as a driver, you're really weighing up your options. Do I push? How much do I push? How much am I willing to take out of these tires? And this is where I think Ballista, with his years of experience, might have an upper hand. But obviously we don't know how much League Racing Series been doing, but we all know what Ballista is capable of. But these two have already started to distance themselves from the rest of the pack. And I don't know about you guys, but this is deja vu of Bahrain 2021 in the
Does
real
seem a
life
little bit.
F1 race.
But we know Ballista has the experience in the F3 cars and the race experience of Series beforehand. This is Series' first race in Artito Grand Prix, F3 Grand Prix Sundays. As the Leicester Series sets a 144.8, he isn't showing his inexperience by the looks of it though, but it will be a question mark over whether his strategy will be
there is
a
no
factor.
difference between lap time. They've got no difference. They're within a tenth or two of each other this lap, and that's what I mean by Ballista's going to have a hard time with that sort of consistency to catch up to him. 2 seconds on pure pace, as we see here, 2.1. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and they're going to have to start thinking about their pit stops very soon, and where is that going to feed out? Do you guys know what's the transit time on the pit lane? Yeah?
No, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately,
No.
me as well. I don't even know either.
Yeah, so I was just trying to figure out where would they feed out in terms of traffic, but it's as we see Ryan.
Oh.
Good move there.
Ryan making a very big move in comparison to Mobitron there. He hasn't quite able to get the straight line
almost
speed.
Like, we cut to that shot, almost like Mobitron was just standing still.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it seems as though he's continuing to suffer from the pace there. You can just see behind TJ Dragon harassing Mobitron. Both of those two drivers, of course, are new. But something I do think we need to mention as well is the gap between Siri and Ballista. It's hovering around that sweet spot of 2 seconds, and 2 seconds is what you need to get DRS from the driver in front of you. So if Ballista can just eke a little more time out of the car, you'll be able to have that. No, we set it to 2 seconds.
Wow. Okay.
And there you go, 1.9 now. You can see Morbitron getting overtaken there by TJ Dragon. It seems like he doesn't quite have straight line speeding fast with the rest of the drivers, but as Ballista sits a 144.6. Wow.
That's fast.
That is very fast.
Scooby's in the pits.
Scoob already in the pits, that's interesting. I wonder if he's doing an
this is interesting, guys. Let's look at this and see where he comes out in terms of traffic. That's going to be interesting to see now. What's the transit time through the pits and where he comes out? Seems like he's going to come out in a bit of clean air.
Yeah, there's
Not
pretty
too much
much a huge
traffic
gap between Scooby and Gutsy.
And remember, Ballista, or he's going to come out in a bit of traffic, but I think he'll dispatch of him very quickly. Scooby's got the pace, hopefully.
Must keeping it clean between him. Good respect between the two drivers, but Gutsy's going to be wanting to fight for that position, and Scooby's going to be hanging around much more. And already have a battle coming towards turn 3 now.
Scooby's got cold tires, Scooby's got cold tires, here we go.
He does have cold tires, but he will have the inside line going into the braking zone. And it seems as though he's been able to dispatch of Gutsy. Yep. Gutsy will have... No, he won't. I thought he had the traction for a second there, but he won't quite have it. That was so important.
That was so important for Scooby if he's going to make this undercut work, because if he was stuck behind Gutsy for even the middle sector, the whole point of the undercut would just absolutely be defeated. So that was very important for him. So as we see,
down to 1.5 seconds, 1.7 now. Sorry.
This is now in the undercut territory. I have a feeling pit stops might decide this race or have a big say in this race. This is going to be interesting to see how it turns out. Remember, Ballista was about 3 seconds up on Scooby, so Ballista or Siri, if they pit, will be ahead of Gutsy when they come in, unless they have a shocking pit stop. But let's see who is going to pit. Neither.
Something I do want to see though is that Ballista will have the DRS and what that's going to do in terms of time difference.
44.5. Wow, the pace is holding up front as the fuel load burns off. Drivers get more and more into a rhythm. These drivers are very much distancing themselves from the pack. They're already 9 seconds ahead of Sato, and it just feels like 10 years ago that Sato was up at P2. And now Ballista already 9 seconds ahead of him.
The gap down now to 1.3 seconds at the moment, though. Lakeman making his scheduled pit stops. It seems though he's going for the one stop. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in comparison. Yes.
I have a feeling my prediction might be on the money here.
Might be yet. You can see the gap though, reducing ever slightly. Pit stops will be becoming a factor very soon. But it seems that Ballista has the experience with the worn rubber on this F3 car in comparison to Siri. Of course, Ballista has raced in these cars in Grand Prix Sundays before. Siri has not, so this is a bit of an unknown factor for him. But it's going to make some very exciting racing in the coming laps.
This is what we've wanted to see, a proper fight. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so glad I'm here right now, guys.
Certainly.
Beautiful.
And you can cut the tension with a knife. It is that thick in the air at the moment. And the question is now whether either of these drivers blink first and take their scheduled pit stop. It's yet to be seen.
Lap 7.
But, yep. Now, if you're a ballista, you kind of have a bit of a question as whether you stay out for an extra lap at the known pace or you follow your rival
tire
in.
wear's good. Tire wear's too much. You're gonna have to box. Tire wear's too much. You...
Both
The
of
drivers
them
are
now
both
pulling
going
into the
now.
pits.
Yep. Yep.
And
Like I
this will
said,
be very exciting.
Who will come out on first after this?
I have a
pit stop?
feeling. Series
Series
already out.
gone.
Followed
And there goes
closely by
Ballista.
Ballista. Yep.
Oh, yep. I think that gap pretty much looks the same as when they came in. So
Yep, pretty much.
halfway through the race, 7 laps to go. Back
So
on
no
resume.
change in the driver. And doesn't seem as though there's going to be any traffic between the two drivers, so
This is
Even
it.
if
It's
they
up
can't
to
even
these
fit
two.
that. Yep.
Oh,
bit
Ballista
clumsy there from
almost lost
Ballista.
the rear end.
Yep.
That
of course having
rear
to deal
end.
with the cold tires, as you said beforehand with the Scoop, but these tires will begin to warm up in due course, and you can see the gap sign stabilize a bit of a 1.8, 1.7. But we did see beforehand that Siri had the initial pace over Ballista in the early laps, and I wonder if that's going to be reflected in the rubber as well.
Surely, I think if Siri pushed too hard in stint 1, he should be like, I'm not going to push as much through the opening few laps and have a bit more rubber left at the end, because Ballista was gaining 3 or 4 tenths a lap, and looking at the gap that it is now, 1.5, he with DRS, he can sail past Siri. So I think Siri, if that was the case in the first few laps, that he should take it a bit easy on the tires, but he's the one driving. Let's see what he's got.
And then we'll be able to see difference in times between the drivers in the coming laps, as well as the difference when they go across the line. Meanwhile, though, Sato currently in P1, he's yet to P. He'll most likely box in the coming moments. He's just coming towards turn 14 now, so if he does pit, you'll be able to see him top left there.
A lot of it might be down to the fact with setup difference, like maybe Siri's tires, he's got a setup that just fires the tires up more, but also that means that because it's firing up the tires more, putting more heat through them, that it wears quicker. So we'll see.
It's entirely possible. Sato going into the pits, so that means he will assume the lead and Ballista will take second. Now there's a question whether Scoop will be able to jump. Doesn't seem as though he'll have the gap. Sorry, no, Scoop is going across the line at the moment, so we might see a difference between the Indonesian driver and the Japanese driver. Scoop will take P3.
Yep. But
And
Sato's
Sato
going to
will lead
have
out.
much fresher tires, so he's going to be coming back at him at a faster than odds. But this is it, guys, isn't it? 6 laps to go,
Yeah.
coming on 5.
And it's getting pretty close. The gap has gone back out to 2 seconds now, which is going to be working in his favour because he won't have that very key DRS, which will be able to rein him in on the straights.
One mistake right about now is not what you want, and I'm pretty sure if one of these drivers were to make a mistake, I don't want to put a commentator's curse. Yeah, they would be kicking themselves because they worked so hard the whole weekend to get to this level, this point. You don't want to bin it.
Certainly. And Ballista is in that 2-second gap, but he wasn't in it at the detection point, unfortunately, so won't have DRS for this straight, but he is going to be within the window for main straight DRS. And we do know that Ballista is faster through this third sector. It seems as though the series is faster through
Ooh,
the second.
through the wide there.
Little
He's pushing.
squirrely. He is pushing indeed.
If you guys were wondering how hard Ballista's pushing, I think that corner showed it. He is on it. This is what I've said. This is what I said on top of the show. I'll repeat myself. This is the first time we've seen him under pressure. We've not seen Ballista push like this before, and it's a sight to behold.
Certainly. You'll have DRS too. That's critical.
Jake's been a bit quiet, mate. Are you enjoying the race, or?
Well, I'm pretty
Because
much
this is-
tense up from all the action.
It's absolutely crazy. What a fight we've got on our hands. 5 laps to go, 1.7, 1.6 seconds, and I think right about now is when Ballista started to gain on Siri in the last stint, and we can already see he's gained 2 tenths through the first corner. Yeah, we've got a grandstand finish on our hands here.
Certainly, it's going to be very, very close, incredibly exciting, and I think if there's any reason to subscribe to Artito Racing, this is it. going to be incredibly exciting, as I said beforehand. A grandstand finish is certainly on the cards between these two drivers.
As a driver, right about now, you've got to stay in the rhythm, especially if you're Siri. Like, Ballista's got nothing to lose at this point. He will go all in. But if you're Siri, you have to keep that pace up. Because the moment you start to drop your pace because you think you've got the win in the bag, the tire temperature starts to drop. Your rhythm starts to drop. And that's when the mistake is likely. He's going to have to push all the way until the checkered flag to make sure he gets this win.
If we can close down that gap for about 4 laps, maybe we'll see some last
He's
last
got
lap
the pace.
action.
He's got the pace, guys. He is gaining. He's gained about 3/10 this lap. I have a feeling the setup difference is showing in this race right about now. Ballista's gaining on him. Although he didn't have the best second sector there, but well, do you guys remember what the gap was at the start of the lap? I think he's gained about 3/10 on this lap.
The gap was 2 seconds. We're about to see it change in a moment. Give you an update on my screen. 1.7. So yeah, 3/10. As Ballista sets the fastest lap
of the race.
And it's looking very, very interesting there. 144.450. For context, Alessio set a 144.7 that lap. But he did have the fastest third sector, which is interesting to see, and you can start to see the dynamics between these two drivers playing out. It seems that Ballista is king of Sector 1, but Alessio does have the pace over the Japanese driver in Sector 3.
Absolutely, that's what it seems like, and gap's gone back out to 2 seconds, so you can tell Ballista's pushing, making little errors, just a few, but it's enough to cost him a few tenths every here and there, so
yep,
he needs to iron them out.
And that's going to hurt him. And you have to think now for the Japanese driver, time is starting to run out. We only have a couple laps left of this race.
And he won't have DRS either.
No, he won't.
And he's missed the apex there as well. And this is crazy. We've never seen this before, where Ballista is second in line, getting outdriven and outpaced.
The gap now stretching back out to 2.3 seconds, and you start have to think whether he has been able to keep his tires exactly in the right operating range, whether the tire wears or temperatures are starting to have an impact on the Japanese driver. The gap now to 2.5 seconds. And this is uncharacteristic for the Japanese driver.
He's going to have to find almost a second a lap now, 8/10 a lap to have a chance at this win. And I just don't know if he's got the pace. 47 corners to go to try and make up, but it's going to be very difficult for him, I think, from here on out. I think Siri, if he doesn't make a big mistake, he's got this one in the bag. But never say never. It's motor racing.
No, absolutely not. And it doesn't look as though Ballista will have DRS, so he's out of that crucial 2-second window to get that DRS and hopefully claw about a tenth or so down the straight. And it seems as Siri now in the box seat to be able to take his first win on his first race here at Artito Racing. Meanwhile, Ryan is in the pits. I'm not entirely certain if he's retired or not. He has,
I just had a look at Discord. He's got a wheel problem, so disappointing for the Indonesian drifting champion, but showed good glimpses of pace throughout the race, and I think he is very much enjoying his time before he goes back to drifting again. But hopefully we'll see him again in race 2.
Absolutely. And the rest of the field seems to be quite spread out in comparison. Sardo's in a fielding zone at the moment. Scoob's also similar to the case. Lake Bun is closing onto Scoob. He does see him.
As a commentator, I don't want to be someone who just focuses on the first 2 drivers, but yeah, I am absolutely intrigued by this battle. I've lost track of everything else that's been happening, which is not very professional, but wow, these two have really set themselves apart this evening, and it seems like it may be match point right about now. But like I said, never say never, but we're coming up to 2 laps to go, and if Ballista's got a bit more pace in those tires and himself, he has to show it now.
I mean, to be honest, that's why we're so intrigued with all the action in the front of the pack, is because it is actually the first time that we can see Ballista really pushing hard to take first place.
Absolutely, he's been on a Sunday cruise, literally, and we finally got the answer. We finally got the Max Verstappen of Artito. 2 laps to go here in Bahrain.
This is in the first fastest third sector there on that previous lap, so he does have some pace in him yet, but whether it's enough is yet to be seen. Honestly though, I think he's just going to run out of time unless Siri makes a mistake in the dying minutes of this race. But Siri has just been phenomenal, really. I've been watching his onboards, and he hasn't made a mistake. It's just been purely beautiful driving from the Italian.
Anything happens to the Italian driver from here on out, I wasn't the one who made the commentators curse, just so you guys know.
I've been pretty much silent for the most part.
He's let's be real, he has absolutely shown up this evening and dominated the race, led from start to finish, got pole position. Unless something very catastrophic happens, my prediction will not come true of Ballista winning the race. But wow, what a sight it's been, this race. And
yeah.
I don't know what happened at the end of stint 1, but it definitely feels like if Siri made certain mistakes with regards to how he brought those tires up to temperature and how it wore them out, as we see Ballista making another error.
Oh no.
That is wow. That is very uncharacteristic of the Japanese driver. But like I said, those errors that Siri made in stint 1, he's certainly rectified them in stint 2, and he's well on his way now to a win, especially after that error from Ballista.
And as the gap opens out to 3 seconds, or just under that, you think as the final nail in the coffin has been hammered in for the Japanese
You can see
driver.
he's still pushing. You can see his front end absolutely not living as we're on the final lap now.
Final lap of the Grand Prix, and it's all in Alessio Sirdi's hands, the Italian driver. First race here at Artito Racing, and wow, has he shown up.
Absolutely
The
stunning.
Ballista still trying to push. You can just see someone in the background. I believe that was lap traffic. I'm not entirely sure who that was. But they have gotten out of the way, thankfully. So just following Ballista now. Final time. And
Let's go to Siri. Let's go to Siri. What a drive from him. Absolutely
Simply
perfect.
incredible. Yep.
Well deserved. The all
Going
weekend.
through turn 8 for the final time.
What's crazy is he's got such a pointy front end. You can see his steering. He's barely steering into the corner and the car's turning in. He's got a very Max Verstappen driving style. Look at that.
It's certainly incredible for the Italian.
But that's probably what makes him so fast, is that the car's willing to rotate, but he can handle it. And a lot of drivers struggle with that. And yeah, he's got so much front end rotation. And absolutely beautiful drive, and all he's got to do is just manage these last 2 braking zones, and he's done it.
Alessio Siri into the third sector now, heading towards turn 13, gets the apex quite nice on the power, nice and clean for the Italian. He has 3 seconds worth of gap to Ballista, and Ballista's going to be thinking what could have been, but for Alessio Siri, as he heads towards turn 14, the final braking zone, he'll hit the apex nice and cleanly, and he will win his first race for Artito Racing here at Bahrain.
What a drive.
An incredible drive from the Italian.
Incredible showing from the Italian. Ballista, well driven. He tried his best, but sometimes you just get beaten, and that's the first time we've seen Ballista get outdriven. But Ballista with a well-earned second, as we see Sato on the podium. My prediction was almost right, but I got the first 3, but just not in the right order.
I don't know about you guys. I'm certainly getting butterflies now.
Yep.
Yeah, the reverse grid's going to be incredible to watch, and yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how. Now I think where Ballista has a chance to shine is showing his racecraft through the pack in race 2, but you never know. Siri might just has as good of a racecraft, but with both of them starting on the last row, it's going to be quite a sight as we see. Lake Bun celebrating.
Lake Bun getting P5, good trying from him. Scoot getting P4, see Rohe crossing the line in P6.
And I think that's going to be a good finish for Rohe. Just an incident-free top 6 run. You know, that'll do. Sometimes you just need a calm race when you've got such a downward momentum, and I think that race will do wonders for him. Beautiful driving, just out of trouble.
I'm actually
very close to Rohe, actually. Only half a second between the 2 drivers. We see Morbitron now, first racing here at Artito. Good showing for him in P8.
I'm actually getting the chills from the gap that they pulled out from each other.
That was that reminds me a lot of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. I keep alluding to this again and again, but when those 2 drivers in real life used to be 20-30 seconds up the road from everyone within a few laps, this is what it reminds me of. So let's hope we don't have
waiting for the As we're waiting for the drivers to get ready for the second race, run through the order. P1 was Alessio, P2 was Ballista, P3 was Sato, P4 was Scoop, P5 Lakebun, P6 Rohe, P7 Gusty, P8 Morpatron, P9 TJ Dragon, P10 Neil Mendoza, and then the non-finishers of Raj and Ryan Plangerton.
It's going to be interesting now as we have our
Yes, okay.
reverse grid race now.
Yep, and Gusty will take pole here, followed by Rohe, Lakebun, Scoob, Sato, Ballista, Siri, Mortron, TJ Dragon, Neil Mendoza, Raj, and Ryan.
Come on, Rohe, get those elbows out. Make it interesting. We want to see some good action.
And we can see this nice camera angle welcome here. The lights getting ready to go red for the second time now for a reverse grid race. And you can hear the V6s humming away. 6 red lights. And away we go. And it's a good start there from Gusty in comparison, but it seems as though Rohe will have company to deal with. You see all the drivers now trying to get some sort of track position going to turn 1, hopefully be able to keep it clean. Didn't quite do it though in the first race, but it seems as though, for the most part, it's all right.
Beautiful. Almost, don't jinx it just yet. Beautiful.
A little bit though, but it seems as though everyone's facing in the right direction for the most part, which is a good sign. Gusty got swamped though in comparison to the rest drivers, but Rohe in P1, the Iron Jamaican, showing yet again his great pace.
Oh, just a bit wide there. But Rohe's in P1.
Snaky, but that's right for the most part. You can see Lakebun right behind him and Scoob as well, following the Jamaican driver, but a good start now from Rohe.
Siri's got the jump on Ballista here.
Yes.
Siri's got the jump on Ballista, so keep an eye out on that. Ballista's going to have to find a way around Sato, I believe, to quickly make inroads on the Italian driver, but Rohe already out front.
Yeah, and a good start
from the Jamaican driver.
He was saying beforehand with Siri getting the jump on Ballista, he is now already in P4 and he's challenging P3 now in the form of Scoot. Only a 10th behind him.
Here we go.
See now on Ballista.
Sato's obviously never going to give up the inside. Oh.
No, certainly not. And he runs his compatriot wide, but at the same time, Siri was trying to make a move on Scoot, but it didn't quite work out. He's right behind him. And his line up for the most part. Scoop battling with Lakebun, his fellow compatriot, but Siri will be able to get involved here and say, thank you very much, I'll take that.
He just picks up the pieces.
And Siri will take P3, he might even look to get P2 here. Goes a little, have a look on the inside of Lakebun, but nothing quite of it here. On board now is Scoop, obviously. The Scoop will have the double draft of both Lakebun and Siri. And the question is now, Siri won't have the draft.
Oh. He's going very defensive. What's Scoop going to do here?
Goes all the way to the right, Scoop will go all the way to the left. He'll take the racing line. He'll also take the slipstream from Ballista. The last of the leg breakers here. Who's going to be able to get out of it in turn 3?
Nearly into the
Scoop gets on the curbs there, and he goes wide.
Still there.
And it's very close between the two drivers there. Siri will get that P3. He will keep it.
Ballista's still behind Sato. That is not ideal for him, as Siri's already making a move for P2.
And speaking of Sato, he's now making the move on Scoop to P4 here. And it seems as though Siri's been able to make the move on Lakebun to P2, so he's going to be looking towards Rohe at the moment. The gap 1.5 seconds between those two drivers. Meanwhile, there's a great battle here for P3 at the moment. Lakebun trying to get back on Siri. He'll make the move going to turn 8. He'll make it.
What happened there?
He just overshot it. He tried too hard to get down the inside and he just locked his front wheel up. Not ideal, but wow.
But Scoob, like his compatriot Ryan Plangerton, will drift into turn 10. He'll keep the car facing forward, all 4 tires with traction, but he's going to lose time in comparison to the rest of the drivers. Now fighting with Lakebun. Lakebun looking towards the inside, coming into turn 11. He won't make the move here, but Ballista will be able to square up the corner. But Scoob goes off.
Runs wide.
Scoob will come back online, going side by side now with his
fellow compatriot. My god, that was so scary to see.
Oh, good driving from Ballista. I don't know how he didn't spin out there. Great car control.
But Ballista goes wide. Ballista's slowing down. Ballista's slowing down.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Ballista's slow. What's happened? Is he out of fuel?
Oh no. That is... Might be out of fuel, guys.
I think he's out of fuel.
Oh no.
I don't believe
and he's falling off to the side.
And as we see, can we go to Siri? Siri might be, of course, making a move here on Rohe for the lead, and he's already got Rohe.
And he's already got Rohe, but Rohe might be able to make the cross on here. He'll get the run on the Italian, but he won't quite be able to square off.
I wouldn't
turn
find it.
two,
I wouldn't
unfortunately.
find it. Last thing Rohe needs right about now is not an instant. I just think if he can have a clean race, I think he'll be happy. And I think he knew that today Siri was not his fight. So I just think he let Siri go. But back to Ballista, that is heartbreaking for him.
That is going to be heartbreaking. But meanwhile, it seems that Morbitron and Gussie are currently fighting for P7. Morbitron making the move on the Australian, and of course he's the newcomer here. Gussie a little bit more experienced in comparison to, don't know his nationality, but he is Morbitron. So he'll hopefully be able to make the move back on him for P7. But it seems that he doesn't have the pace in comparison to the newcomer. Morbitron making his presence known in the mid-pack at the moment. But he will also have to consider Vaj just behind him, only a 7/10 gap between the Australian and the Indian driver. Gussie not quite getting that apex there, unfortunately. You can just see behind, he's going to have to deal with the Indian driver while also trying to attack Morbitron. Morbitron won't have DOS, but Gussie will, so he will be able to gain a little bit here as well in the braking zone. See the gap visually just starts to decrease a little bit. And I wonder if he'll be able to make the move coming to the front straight now for lap 4. Ooh, Gussie having a very different line comparison to Morbitron, but it seems that it's worked out in comparison to...
He got a good run off the final corner. He got a good run off the final corner because he had a wider turn in, but still not faster. As now we see the slipstream. Right, just all over him.
Alessio setting a fastest lap of Grand Prix, 144.9, but he will have back to Gussie and Morbitron. Gussie will have DOS and slipstream going towards the front straight now. Morbitron goes towards the middle of the track. He's not committing to one or the other side of the track quite yet, but you can see Gussie trying to reel him in. Closer, closer, closer. Morbitron will go towards the left-hand side. Gussie will go towards the right, but he's not able to have the upstream. No, he won't be able to make that move.
But I have a feeling he's probably lining up the move for turn 4 if he can get good run off, but could have drive off. But it seems like he hasn't been able to get the power down as he'd like. So Morbitron is that the one driver out front? Yep, he's got that position secure for now. As we see Rohe just drifting off and Lake Bun getting forward.
Unfortunate there from Rohe.
He's not made a mistake yet, so I still think this is a.
Oh! Did he just show the front wing there?
That's
a little bit of a tap there, I think, but nothing of it, thankfully, between the two drivers. Lake Bun, though, is certainly going to be known to make it. Right there.
That's exhibit A of commentator's curse right there. See, that nearly went wrong.
Gussie nearly pushing Morbitron through turn 10, coming onto this straight now. He will have the DOS on Morbitron, but you can just see Vaj behind. Vaj looking towards the left-hand side. Nothing coming of it, though. The Australian will make the move on Morbitron. Doesn't quite finish it, though. That run's going to be compromised now. You can just see the similarly livid Vaj, the Indian driver, looking all which way, trying to make a move on the Australian. They'll go through turn 12 now, to turn 13.
See, Perfect protects the inside.
Who's that on the track? Rejoined Lake Bun right in front, made a mistake. He rejoins the track now, pulls to the side.
Oh, Lake Bun's fallen all the way back there. And now Lake Bun's getting involved here. Now the battle for P7 to become the battle for P6. Scoop gets the fastest of Scoop. 144.9. Wow.
Showing from him, I think.
And he's made the move on Sato. He has.
This is going to be a good battle to watch, guys. As we see Sato now trying to get. Sato's trying to get the good run off into turn 4. Scooby's got a good run himself. As we see,
meanwhile,
4
back to
cars now fighting it out for P6. Wow.
There's a lot of action. Oh, contact there from Raj!
Raj goes round. He doesn't quite get the turn in that he wanted coming out of turn 1, and that's going to hurt his pace, but he gets to come back around. He's going to be fighting for position yet again. So the battle between 4 cars now goes down to 3. Gussie, Lake Bun, and Morbitron. Gussie in front of the Indian, in front of Morbitron, who I don't know his nationality. He is his own nationality, it appears. But he'll start to make the move on the Indonesian driver. He looks towards the left-hand side. Nothing coming of it there.
So much action for this race.
A lot of action, yep.
Reverse grids are always like this, and they're great fun to watch, but let's not discredit Siri, and what a great job he did through the first 3 laps to find himself in the lead already. But is this one of those things where Ballista, where he was so much under pressure, he forgot to fuel up his car for race 2, and you just have to wonder if that was one of those things, because that seems like a very, very rookie mistake to make.
I'm just getting word now from Ballista, actually, apparently his pedal died.
Oh, no, that's a very unfortunate.
That's tough.
We were alluding to that in qualifying. Kendrick, I believe, you're the one who pointed out that he wasn't applying full throttle on one of his qualifying laps, that it did cost him pole position. and as a result, it seems that his pedal has finally given up the ghost. But meanwhile, back to the race at hand, seems that Sato only half a second behind the Indian driver in Scoop. She's probably going to be wanting to make a move on the Indonesian driver. He'll look towards the racing line. Scoop going very, very defensive. That is going to compromise his line coming out of turn 1. We will see that in a moment. He takes a lot of the curb. Both take a good heaping of the curb there. It seems as though Scoop will get a better run just at the moment, but Basada will have the slipstream going in towards turn 3. Scoop will go to the right-hand side, going defensive yet again. Sato fine to stay where he is at the moment, keeping that racing line, keeping the run. And you can see it paying in spades for the Japanese driver there, now right behind the Indonesian. And I wonder who's going to be making up a move coming out of turn 10 and onto the back straight there. I say that the Indonesian driver has gone wide, and he's going to have his run compromised through turn 8, and then side by side, and they're going to be side by side going to turn 9. Hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen.
Sato has to be patient. Don't send it down the inside. You're going to have DRS.
No, he'll have DRS here. He'll get a better apex in comparison to the Indonesian driver. You can see that rear wing flap open. He doesn't seem to have the gap in comparison to the Indonesian driver, though. Scoop being able to manage the time between him and Sato, so he'll be safe for this part of the portion. Meanwhile, though, I think it's worth mentioning, Siri is now 5 seconds in front of these two drivers, so it seems so unless he makes a catastrophic mistake or gets involved in traffic, he will be getting his second win. But in the meantime, though, Sato's starting to fall off just a little bit. Scoop will go wide there. That may compromise his run. You can see the time on the left-hand side there, about a tenth eaten into that gap between the Indonesian and the Japanese driver. Scoop goes wide again. He misses the apex, and I wonder who's pulling to the pits. He is, and so is the Japanese driver. So now it's going to be a battle of the strategies between Sato and Scoop, and this will be interesting to see. And it seems like Sato got a better entrance into the pits, and I wonder if that's going to benefit him in terms of the times.
Did Scooby just reverse there? I think he just missed his box.
Oh. That's going to be having his time. He goes out now, and Sato has faster time than Scooby-Doo, unfortunately, so he'll be able to pip him in the pits. Meanwhile, though, Ryan playing it in, and Gutsy by the looks of it are battling. Ryan getting it all squirrely through turn 2 there.
He might be used to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anyone's going to be getting it sideways, it's going to be Ryan.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go.
That's a proper drift experience there. What a save.
Yeah, but it's not quite indicative of time, unfortunately. You can see the gap visually getting larger and larger between him and the Australian. Gutsy being able to manage it very well. Currently in P3, but he is yet to box, so he will fall down the order given time. And in the meantime, he's managing the gap very well between him and the Indonesian drifter. You'll see in the background there, Lakebun hoping to gain in some way, and I believe that it's also more John, I want to say. No, it's Raj. Raj has somehow gotten back involved. Great showing from him on that spin earlier. He's now been able to get that pace. You can just see in the background there with the open rear wing, and he's going to make the move on Morptron by the looks of it. No, he thinks better of it. Not quite close enough. But it's all seems to be line side for the most part. Morptron will go wide a little bit there, but Raj will get a much better run in comparison to the unknown nationality. I need to find out what his nationality is. But he has much more overspeed in comparison to...
Oh, Ryan spun! Ryan spun!
Ryan's gone sideways. He's gone way too sideways there, and he is spun. And thankfully, Raj is able to get out of the way. But he'll lose places there. And you can see Lakebun joining back on track. Lakebun going past Ryan.
That's so unlucky.
Yeah, that is
really unlucky.
That's very unfortunate for Ryan. Just spun in front of them as well.
Yep. Bahrain into the pits now. As is Raj. So it'll be interesting to see between those two drivers, as is Ryan. Certainly indicative that these tires have gone off with that big spin from the Indonesian. He's certainly known for his drift angle, but I think he'll agree that was maybe a bit too much.
Meanwhile, Gutsy and Alessio is now close by.
That's interesting.
Did he spun?
I don't believe he's boxed yet. No, I believe Siri is lapped. Maybe. Oh, actually, maybe you're correct. He may have...
Maybe
no,
he made a mistake,
box,
probably?
No, he would have boxed. He would have boxed. He must have.
He
has.
It didn't show on the tower.
Huh. We'll have to have a look at that at a later time.
That's pretty much interesting for me.
Another news, completely off topic. I've got Singapore Luxor for the Singapore Grand Prix this evening. What do you guys think of my picking?
That sounds pretty good. Ballista's just retired though.
That's tough luck. But in other news, back to serious racing talk. Series absolutely gone. Like, he's gone in a different postcode. Like, he's got so much pace compared to everybody else, especially with his main rival out. Yeah, it's difficult to see unless. Yeah, tough luck there for the Indonesian drifting champion, but I'm sure he enjoyed his outing with us, our former race director. It's, and as we see Ballista texting with us just now on Discord that he will be racing on a controller next time, by the looks of it. So,
that's going to be interesting.
That's going to be very interesting indeed. If he can find a way to be competitive on a controller, wow.
And
Scooby might have competition.
He may yet. But at the moment, you can see the battle for second between Lakeburn and Raj. Both are noticed at the moment. I don't believe either of them have boxed quite yet. I can't quite recall. But both of them battling down towards the main straight. Lakeburn does not have the speed in comparison to Raj, and there's going to be traffic between him and I'm not entirely sure what it is.
Oh my god, this is going to be very awkward.
That is the worst position.
Oh no! Oh
no!
And Raj for the second time in the same place by the same person is around.
He
and he's
should
not
have
be happy
just
about that.
bided his time there. He should have bided his time. I don't think he was alongside enough to stick his wheel in there. He could have just been patient and easily got that move into turn 4. Just unlucky there. But wow, that was when Morbitron was the one that came out of the pits. That was the absolute worst position he could have come out for Raj, because Raj could not take the racing line, and Raj got a bit desperate there, and that's the result.
Absolutely.
Once again, the Raj strings of bad luck still continues on.
Yeah, Raj.
Yeah.
When Raj gets a race together, he is a top 2 driver, but sometimes Raj just gets involved in a few incidents, many of which are not his fault, and I don't know if that one is, but yeah, that's just unlucky for him that he can't show his pace, and a lot of times he's got internet issues, wheel issues, which are obviously not in his control either, but it would be nice to see Raj put a weekend together, because I believe if he can put a weekend together and he's in tune with the car and track, he can take it to guys like Ballista and Siri.
Oh no, you cursed him!
Oh my god.
Raj,
that just about sums up his day.
Yeah.
It does, honestly. But we do know Raj has the capability to win races. We saw him win the first race at Spa. So we do know he has the capability in the car to bring it to the top guys, but at the moment, it doesn't seem to be showing that pace. Meanwhile, Neil Mendoza...
Oh no!
Too much.
They made contact!
Oh! Big crash! Who was that? I think... No, it wasn't Siri, sorry. Let me find who that was.
It's Neil Mendoza and Dragon.
So TJ Dragon and Neil Mendoza, the two newcomers there, getting it all wrong. TJ Dragon stopped on the side there. You can just see him on the right of your screen. Don't know if he's considering retiring or not, but he's not moving.
That was very clumsy of them to hit each other at the end of the straight.
I feel like clumsy is one of our favorite words, but yeah, some of these incidents are very clumsy this evening, and I don't know why, but as we see Raj now trying to catch back up to Bobaton, and it'll be interesting to see how he races him after that incident at turn 2.
Yep.
But out of the front, Siri seems to be having this race under control with Sato in P2, I believe. It's very difficult to read, and Scooby in P3. Rohei putting a good race together in 4th. Let's just hope he stays there. It will do wonders for him in terms of his confidence level. Like I said, he just needs to stay out of trouble. He needs to just bide his time, wait for others to make mistakes and capitalize, and that's what he's done in race 2, and he's on his way to a top 4 finish.
He will have Gusty Contender currently in P5, just about 2 seconds behind him. You can see on the left of the screen there. And I am aware that Gusty has fresher rubber. He did just kind of
absolutely does.
A bit sliding for more button there.
Morbitron going wide, and Raj just giving him an extra wide berth going into the last corner. Raj, he should have this move, but let's not forget Morbitron will have DRS. If I was the driver, I'd just let off the gas to make sure that I'm behind going into the detection zone. It's going to be interesting to see who's got DRS into turn 1. Does Raj have DRS? Let's see as we
mind games there.
It's going to be Morbitron. Morbitron's going to be the one having DRS. Raj is going to protect the middle. And he's going to slowly move to the right-hand side.
Bit contact to the wheel.
Wow.
Raj is going to keep his nose in the inside, down the inside, and Raj still stays in second. But Morbitron's going to do the crisscross on him and try and get the run down to turn 4. He's got a good exit. Is the DRS going to be powerful enough? Raj is slightly protecting the middle, but I think Raj is going to be safe. And Morbitron's
what's
going
wrong?
to
I think he's pulling up to the side.
Oh dear.
That's
What's
awkward.
happened there?
Interesting. And
he's
he's
just
gone
Disconnected.
He's gone.
Wow.
He's just quit. Wow, that's I don't know what to say, but great move there from Raj. He protected the inside absolutely perfectly. Make sure he knows what's there. And Lake Bun has lost to
Lake Bun spun.
I've put the commentator's curse. We're having like clumsy mistakes everywhere now. That's not what you want to see.
It's entirely possible that Lake Bun is now starting to deal with tire wear as we go towards the closing laps of this second race. And interesting though, Raj is it is 7 seconds behind, but if Lake Bun makes a mistake again,
let's go on board with Gutsy. I think that's going to be the battle to the end of the race now, isn't it? For 4th place.
Seems
He's on board with Gutsy closing in on Rohei, and right about now, I know what I said about Rohei, trying protecting his position to make sure he's a clean race. Surely he's going to get his elbows out these last 3 laps to make sure that he finishes in 4th.
And you can see the gap now narrowing down to 1.3 seconds. Gutsy, of course, having that DRS working with him, he'll gain a little more time into this braking zone as well. You can just see there, and the gap now hovering about 1.2, 1.3 seconds. It's a big chunk of the curb there. We're not going to help you start.
Chunk. No. Yeah, he lost about 2/10 there, but Gutsy does seem to have the out-and-out pace out of the two with the fresher rubber in the dying laps of this race, but Rohei, importantly, does have track position as both of them seem to miss the apex at turn 4. Going into the middle sector with the corners, you would have to assume this is where Gutsy, if he's going to make up time, is going to have most of the advantage during the lap with all the corners. But as we see, Rohei is doing a wonderful job on those worn tires just to keep him at arm's length. But Gutsy, if he's going to get this 4th place, needs to iron out those mistakes. And just remember, he's got the fresher tires. He doesn't have to push at 110% to get to Rohei. He needs to iron out those mistakes, but Rohei doing well so far.
Doing very well so far, and as we're going toward the last 2 laps of the race now, it seems that the gap has stabilized about 1.6 between the Australian and the Jamaican. Gaps across the rest of the race seems to be pretty stable, so it's the same forehand line saying this will most likely be where the action is towards the dying moments of the race. Let's just see, he posted 1.4.8.
4 pace. Yeah, he's checked out. He's having a nice Sunday drive, and he's just setting fastest laps of fun at this point, especially with his key rival out with pedal issues. Very unlucky. We expected to see a battle in race 2 as well, but sadly Ballista's pedals did not allow that. But let's not disregard the fact that Siri was already ahead, and he was already in the lead within the first 3 laps. He had a masterful race, and for all the talk about Ballista's racecraft and how Ballista's racecraft might give him an advantage, Siri arguably has shown the best racecraft of them all this weekend. And
somebody's at the end of the pit.
Yeah, somebody's very slow there. Neil Mendoza. So yeah, he's just pulling off to the side to let the faster guys through. Good showing from him.
That is the proper way to do it. Unlike what happened a while ago.
Absolutely. But like I was saying earlier with Siri, he's shown up with all the pressure to perform against Ballista, and he's performed, and he's well on his way now to 2 out of 2 wins, and what a start to his Artito racing career.
Absolutely, and we hope to be able to see more of him in the coming races that we do, both here on Formula 3 Sundays and future leagues.
And let's hope that Ballista gets his pedal sorted, because wow, we've got a fight in our hands with these two.
Absolutely.
As we see, Gutsy still within 2 seconds. I think Rohei's got pretty much P4 sorted at this point, as we see Scooby now just about within a second of Sate.
Yeah.
And he'll have DRS.
Now. So this may start to develop
all
well
the talk,
on a lap.
For all the talk of Ballista and Siri, let's not discount what Sate has done this weekend as well. Very consistent. 3rd place and now a 2nd place. And I think he's going to have the most points after Siri if you combine both those rounds in terms of results. So good showing for the Japanese driver. Same can't be said for his compatriot in race 2, but this weekend belongs to Siri as he heads to the final lap.
Certainly. But in the meantime, Scoob is narrowing the gap down on Sato. 1.4 seconds between the Indonesian and the Japanese driver. They've been battling each other throughout the entirety of the race. And you can see the DRS flap opening as they head towards turn 4, I believe that is. And you can see the gap is decreasing, and you can see, oh my goodness. Yeah,
He's pushing.
Scoob is really pushing and fighting that car as well as that worn rubber. It's very indicative of time.
It's
you
not
can see
working out for
he's
him.
really fighting
It's
that car.
not working out for him.
No!
Oh,
And he's over
Scooby.
pushed.
Oh, Rohei podium maybe if he can. Oh, Scooby's got the car going.
Scoob's got the car going by his way too far back, but Scoob has spun, and that isn't going to be particularly beneficial for his confidence or his tyres for that matter. But it seems as though that first and second has been entirely decided. And wow, what a first it has been for the Italian driver. Alessio Siri, no races here with Artito beforehand. He rocks up on Sunday, sets the fastest lap in practice, sets pole position, gets the fastest lap in race 1 and the victory in race 1, starts towards the back of the grid, able to slide his way through brilliantly through the chaos, through the drivers in those opening laps of the race. And you can see him wrapping around. Final time. Race 2 belongs to the Italian. Alessio Siri
What a
wins
drive.
here.
Well done.
What a
Bye.
drive, yeah, congratulations to him.
Absolutely perfect. I do not remember him putting a foot wrong the whole weekend. Absolutely stunning. And wow, we've got a
Scoob's
proper
round.
fight in
Scoob's
our
round.
hands.
Scoob's gone round.
And
And Rohei's been able to
Rohei's
benefit
gonna
the
get a
result.
podium. Rohei's gonna get a podium. Wow.
Congratulations to him as well, the Iron
Rohei's got one more
Jamaican.
corner. One more corner. Don't jinx it. Around the final corner, Rohei just has to get the power down. It's going to be a
And he's got
podium
it.
for the
Podium
Jamaican.
for the
driver.
Jamaican.
What a
Wow.
Well, Jamaican,
I said
a
it.
great drive from him.
I said it on the top of the show. I said it on top of the show. All Rohei has to do is make sure that the others make mistakes and he keeps himself clean. And look at the result. He's got himself a top 3 result. What a drive. Rohei's back, and that's going to do wonders for him as well. And moving forward, what a drive. And great driving from the Jamaican driver. And
Shall we do an
part
interview with
Japanese.
him?
Part Japanese. He lives in Japan, obviously. But wow, we've got ourselves a proper race car driver on our hands with Siri, and he's not from Asia. He's from Europe, halfway across the world. But he's made a name for himself. As you can see,
him celebrating there.
What a race! That was.
Yeah.
It's not often that race 1's more interesting than race 2, but wow, what a second race that was towards the end. Scooby made a few uncharacteristic errors for himself. Very not Scooby-like, but we've discussed that on top of the show that Scooby's been making a few of these errors recently. But what a weekend of racing. Great racing all through. Relatively clean racing as well compared to previous weeks. And I feel like this has been a great success. And if F3 is our league moving forward, these races prove that we've got one hell of a championship as well. If
I
we
think
make
it's
it a
already.
league.
I think it's already been exposed.
Yeah, I think it's probably an open secret at this point, isn't it? And I'm saying that as a moderator and race director. I'm very good at poker. You could probably tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
But
wow.
as we finish and the server restarts towards the practice session and the drivers start to feed their way out, going through the running order for the second race, P1, Alessio Siri, and a great showing from him. Perfect weekend, honestly. I think there's no other way to describe it. P2 is Sada, a good showing from him for the Japanese driver, very consistent. P3 is Rohei, the Iron Will Jamaican, getting a well-deserved podium, as you were saying before, Flying Cyan. Kept his nose clean, little to no mistakes, and he gets his comeuppance as a result. P4 is Gusty. It seems as though Scoob was struggling with the tyres and speed and towards the dying moments of the Grand Prix, and Gusty was able to pip him, so P4 from him, good showing from him. P5 Scoob, honestly, he's going to be thinking what could have been, but knowing him, he's going to be trying to bounce back and be able to get the results that we know he will be able to get with his pace. P6 is Lakebon, P7 is Neil Mendoza, good showing from him. P8 is Raj after a lot of spins, and then the non-finishers are Morbitron and TJ Dragon, as well as Ryan Plagerton and Ballista.
Shall we do some post-race show?
I reckon.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean,
Right,
not that I've got anything to do.
Do you want to mention Rohei right now?
Yes, Rohei has been in the chat the entire time. where he has actually been in the call the entire time.
Oh, really?
He has been hearing us go on about the race.
I'm pretty sure he must have had us muted because imagine having us three commentating over his ears the whole time while he's trying to concentrate.
So let me just pull up the stream here so we can take some shots from it for the post race show.
Absolutely.
That was pretty much interesting. Both races.
Mm-hmm.
I've been pretty silent the whole time because I've been chewing on my nails.
Driver from here on out. I wasn't the one who made the commentators.
That was so interesting.
Yeah, incredibly. Want to see if we can get some people to do interviews?
Yeah, please do so.
I reckon Alessio is here.
Alright, guys, what do you think I should order for dinner as well, alongside the Laksa? Come on, it's post race. We can be a bit less professional now, can't we?
Hopefully we can. So yeah, it was interesting what happened in race 1 as well. I think Ballista didn't really benefit from all the chaos amidst him.
No, absolutely not. And I just, like I said, Ballista could afford to be patient before when he was a second clear of everybody else. He's not a second clear of a series. And I think that definitely played a factor. Not with the pedals, obviously. That was completely out of his control. But that definitely played a factor with Ballista when he was trying to make his way around the pack. He was probably putting his car in positions where he wouldn't generally not put his car in, but he knew that he had to get those moves done, and that's what exposed him falling down the pack compared to Siri as well. So, yeah.
We'll see here the first lap again, reviewing it.
This is where the pressure's on.
I always hate hearing my own voice over a commentary, but I guess we'll have to. We'll have to make do with that.
We'll have to bear it.
We can mute it anyway, so we can just talk over it again.
Absolutely.
Look at that. Just focus on let's focus on the back. Who hit which? You can see there. That was kind of
Very
lousy.
clumsy.
Yeah.
Very clumsy.
I'll put it on slow mo for a bit there. What happened there? I really don't have any idea how that happened. Someone just broke early, I guess.
Seems as though.
Huge. That was so huge.
Are we going to get a few drivers for the press race interviews, or?
Yeah, I think we should.
No, Rohe's here. Rohe wants to do one.
Please.
Rohe?
Rohe?
He
I think
probably can't hear us.
he's still on
probably
the cool down room.
No, I'm pretty sure he's celebrating that podium, and rightly so.
Yeah.
I think let's give him a bit more time.
Yeah.
Let it get synced up to him.
We're media, mate. We're media. We don't give time. We don't care about human beings. We just want our answers.
Exactly. Ballista, I mean, Sato is not really helping him out here, but it's racing. They're not really
It's
teammates
racing.
at this point.
Yeah, you're not teammates.
No.
And even if you are teammates, Sato is more than entitled to give good. And I'm pretty sure
Exactly.
Ballista, being the driver he is, he would not have wanted Sato to just give way for him either. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
Ballista wanted to fight it, and yep, they did.
Interesting. Shall I pull up the clip of Ballista showing his pedals? Just for the viewers
Yes,
to see.
please. Yes, please.
Just for the viewers to see what happened to Ballista. It is really heartbreaking and unfortunate for him that happened. Surely nobody wants that to happen to anyone. Especially mid-race. Here we go. Here's a clip of Ballista showing his pedals. As you can see, it's like the spring gave out on him.
Gosh.
Very difficult luck for the Japanese driver.
Yeah.
Is Roy back now?
Doesn't seem to be.
Pretty sure he's going to be celebrating long into the night, mate.
Yep. Great stuff from him, really.
Okay, so I just saw on the live chat that it was Gutsy who made contact with Ryan at the first lap. He moved out of the
Oh.
way. Sato as well saying his congratulations and salutation to everybody who partook in the race.
Yeah, very good stuff from Sato.
I mean, to be honest with you, even with the lousy incidents and the very clumsy mistakes that most of them did, it was a great outing for everybody who participated.
Yes, very good showing from all the drivers.
As you can probably tell, I need a bit of a lie down after that race. That was incredible.
Yeah, that was exciting. And we've
That
got
was very
F1
exciting.
later tonight as well.
I mean, I
Absolutely.
can't believe I was silent for the most part.
Yeah,
You provided valuable commentary when you did speak.
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Ooh, nice ice cream. You can see I'm very distracted right about now. Well, generally, what I do on Sundays when we've got Formula One races, I build myself up watching F3, F2, and then watching F1. But I feel like that was almost as good as any F3 race. Absolutely incredible. And we had two of them. And wow, and if that doesn't get the drive or if our fans in mood for Formula One later tonight, I don't know what will. That was incredible to watch. And in terms of the cars, I think the RSS Formula 3 hybrid cars, Formula V3, can't even speak anymore. The RSS Formula 3 cars, V6s, absolutely on the money. These cars are incredible. And RSS generally are always known to make quality mods, and this is one of them. And I'm pretty sure we tested this car for the first time last year around Donington, and this car seems to be very popular for open wheel racing. Not too fast, but still tricky to drive, and the best drivers still shine through. And we may have struck gold here with this car, and I can't wait to see this car over a course of a championship and who comes out on top if Siri does race full time with us.
I remember myself taking part on that Donington race. It was one of my first times in the lobby as well.
It was one back then. I was just an amateur racer. Look how far I've come. I'm only checking. I remember those days, but
I'm gonna miss racing, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, and I do miss racing on Artito service. So sadly, life's got in the way. Oh, there's that move from Raj, obviously. Yeah, that's just his internet playing foul.
Oh no!
I mean, that's what the POV of Lewis Hamilton looks like the whole of 2021 with Max Verstappen sending it down the inside. But checks aside, yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm very surprised that Sato was able to continue without spinning out himself. That's very fortunate because the velocity at which Raj hit Sato was very, very high. So I'm sure this is race one, isn't it, guys? Or is this race two?
Look at him.
It's race one.
He's gonna go down down the track. Oh my god.
Yep, and then into the ground.
And straight to the pits.
I think the aliens got him.
Right. I mean, the aliens are out front and first and second in this lobby, so yep.
Neil now spoken in the live chat now. He said, even though I made a few mistakes in the first race, it was a fun session with everyone.
Yeah, it's good to hear. You did pretty well for your first race, Neil, I'll be honest to say.
Yep.
Good to see you here, and hopefully we'll be able to see you in future races.
The key thing, obviously, when you're just starting out is just keeping yourself out of trouble. You don't want to be making yourself known as a troublemaker from your very first few races. And I think that's what Neil has done very well. You don't have to be flashy. Not everyone has a Lewis Hamilton-like debut, but just having a clean race like he did will go a long way now in terms of building confidence moving forward.
Yes, that is indeed true. You don't really need to be fast. Well, I mean, yeah, well, that's basically the main criteria of racing. You have to be fast, but at this point, when you're a rookie, experience is the greatest thing that you can have.
Absolutely.
Certainly. And I think that's it, really, for first race.
Yeah.
There's not much else to say the second race as well, but we can have a look at Ballista's issue. With the pedal, which caused him to slow down. But yeah, very, very unfortunate for the the Japanese driver. I still think he could have made a very good challenge for P2, which goes without saying. But thankfully for him, points are not on the line for these races just yet.
Not yet.
So,
But you can clearly see how much these drivers are willing to push, even though if it's for
you gotta make yourself known in this. It's a result-driven business. You gotta let yourself be known, even if it's just sim racing. You gotta let yourself be known to other drivers that I'm here to establish my position. And the moment you don't start doing that, the moment you psychologically lose and accept defeat to another person, that's the worst thing that can happen in racing, as we've seen with Daniel Ricciardo at McLaren. And you have to make yourself be known, and that's what these drivers are trying to do. And
here's the exact
goes without saying, obviously, that most of our drivers have been with us, apart from Siri, who's had an absolute blasting for debut. Most of the drivers we have on our server racing full-time in these leagues and races have been with us pretty much since the start of Artito. So they've had a long time to hone their craft and make clean overtakes. And for the most part, we do a pretty good job at it. And I think race 2 had quite a good few battles down the field. Pretty clean battles as well. We obviously had that one clumsy incident between Raj and Mobitron.
Yeah,
but
we had 2 of those, actually.
2 of those. But apart from that, I can't. And turn 1 on race 1. Lap 1, turn 1, race 1. But apart from that, it was a pretty clean race throughout. And yeah, I can't wait to see these cars out next time, because I hope I can be there to commentate again. But if not, I'll still be watching, because that was an incredible race. Incredible few races, rather.
The seat is always free for you to join.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. That was my first time commentating as well, so I hope I didn't screw it up too much.
I mean, for the most part, for me, you did a better job, because I really don't know how to commentate over these races. There's so much going on.
Also does help the fact that I've been watching F1 for like 15 years now. So
you pretty much take the seat.
And not just F1, watching NASCAR as well, and all those commentaries probably does help. But
here's the exact heartbreaking moment for Ballista. I'm gonna put on with the sound.
But Lake Bun looking towards the inside, coming into turn 11. He won't make the move here, but Ballista will be able to square up the corner. But Scuba goes off.
Runs wide.
Scuba come back online, going side by side now with
oh my god, that was so scary to see.
Oh, good driving from Ballista. I don't know how he didn't spin out there. Great car control.
But Ballista goes wide. Ballista's slowing down. Ballista's slowing down.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Ballista's slow. What's happened? Is he out of fuel?
Oh no. That is... Might be out of fuel, guys.
I think he's out of fuel.
Oh no.
I don't believe
and he's
so.
falling off to the side.
And as we see, can we go to series? It obviously wasn't a fuel issue at the time, but
and he's already got
I was
very unlucky.
Totally heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
Yep. You never want to see a race get determined due to penalties or due to equipment failures. Driver error is a part of sport. If you make an error as a driver, that's on you. But we never want to see races decided like that. I'm not saying, like Siri obviously drove his race hard out and he would have probably won the race anyway. But obviously Ballista deserved a bit more than that.
Yes.
And, have a chance at fighting other people, if not Siri. So unfortunate for him, but like I said, championship's not on the line. But obviously I'm pretty sure he will be a bit disappointed. But I'm pretty sure, knowing the driver he is, it'll just motivate him to work harder and come back stronger next time around and make sure everyone knows that he's still the top dog at Artito. So can't wait for the next one, guys. I don't know about you, but he's going to come out with a point to prove. That's for sure.
Pretty much the next outing would be in Suzuka. I think home track advantage, guys.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a difficult one for me, because I'm going to be
watching the F1 race at the bar with a few mates because it's going to be at a good time. So yeah, it's gonna. I might have F3 running on the side, but yeah.
Well, I think that's it, really. Any closing remarks from either?
No, I think that
Nothing
was
from me,
incredible,
yeah.
and I think this race once again just proves that these cars are the way to go moving forward for the next league. And
Totally.
I just think as part of the management team, we're just trying to finalize the tracks that we're going to run on, and that's going to be done over the next 2 weeks with an official announcement coming out very soon. But yeah, I think we've struck gold with this car, and I think it's going to be pretty popular because most of this league racing stuff on most servers are just GT racing. So for us to be doing F3, it will definitely, I think, help our overall standing in the market when it comes to league racing, and hopefully we can get a lot more new people into Artito, but that remains to be seen. But as of now, yeah, great 2 races, and I can't wait for the next one. Like I said, Siri's proven himself, and it's going to be up to Ballista to respond, and the next week's race is not going to be one to miss.
Absolutely.
I'm
Well,
really
that is all from us 3 here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you
Pleasure
all for
to
watching.
be with you guys.
Yep, it was a pleasure to have you here, Flying Cyan.
Absolutely.
Likewise, well, Ken Jake, always good to be commentating with you. And for all who watch, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to the drivers today, and congratulations to Alessio Siri for his perfect run, really. There's no other words to describe it.
Exactly.
If you enjoyed the stream, subscribe, like, comment, all that 9 yards. Tune in next week, where, as Ken Jake said, we'll most likely be streaming racing at Suzuka. But until then, thank you and goodbye.
See you along, guys.